afternoon, everybody. It is time for yet another Le Mans Ultimate Road to Gold episode or stream or whatever you want to call it. Welcome along to the channel. This is going to be my toughest challenge to date on Le Mans Ultimate. The toughest challenge, of course, therefore, in this series. I'm going to be taking on Online Championships mode. Good to see you guys in the chat, though. Hello, Landon. Hello, Lewis. Let us know where you're watching from. That might be because my mic's too far away. Let me, it seems remarkably quiet compared to usual. That's strange. Let me have a look. Just gonna have let's see if it's changed microphones, because sometimes that happens. Weird. Right, 1, 2. I'm gonna actually take this up a bit higher. Right, is that a little bit better? I might need to actually listen to this myself and see, because I haven't changed anything. And suddenly it's gone really quiet. I'm having a few issues with that randomly happening with my microphone recently. So if you give me 2 seconds, I'm going to listen back to this real quick and see how it's sounding. That is better. Okay, good. For the race, I'm going to need to have it around about here. So let me just check. And I'm hoping it doesn't suddenly glitch and go super loud. That sounds good. Yeah, way better. Okay. Yeah, so I literally did nothing. I increased the volume by like 14 decibels from what I've had it at for every other stream, and now it's almost what it was before. Classic technology. When you're recording videos, when you're doing streams and all that kind of stuff, it's amazing how things can just change without you actually doing anything at all. It's remarkable. But if that happens again at some point, hopefully not during the race. If it happens on the build up to the race, let me know and we can try and solve it. But hey, worst case scenario, you don't have to hear me rambling on for ages, and you can actually focus on the race. But yes, good to see you all in the chat now. So we've got Matt's here. Hey again, Matt. Rob's here. Diego's here from London. Nice to see you. Stirk as well. How are we all doing? You guys having a nice day? Just to give you some context for today's festivities, we've got 12 minutes until our race, and we are using the Online Championships feature, which becomes available if you subscribe to Race Control Pro. You don't have to subscribe to the very top tier. It's just the middle tier or the top tier will unlock you Online Championships. Within Online Championships, hello John, nice to see you again. We have 4 different series on the go at the moment, and each of these are in their final rounds of the championship. So I'm essentially joining a championship for the last round, just to see how the racing is and what it's like. So I'm not going to be fighting for any sort of championships today, or worrying about points. I'm just more worried about taking out other people and causing them to have issues with their points. I'll just be doing my own race, having fun. You can see there's 4 different series. So you've got the LMGT3 Fixed Beginner Series, you've got the Multi-Class Masters, the Hypercar Fixed, and the 2023 Endurance Series. Same thing with safety ranking, so you've got GT3 is beginner, multi-class and hypercar is intermediate, and then 2023 is advanced. So I'm obviously still an intermediate. That might change today if I have a really good race, but we're going to do the multi-class Masters series. And before I click on it, actually, let me just hide my face for a second so I can talk this through. So you can see the information here. We've got 6 rounds of multi-class Masters across the season. It's 1 round per week. So this is Sebring this week. Now, you can take part in races that are basically lit up here in white. So there are races for the Multi-Class Masters on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. When you look at the other options, like GT3 Fixed, there are races Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, etc. So it tells you what days the races are on. It also tells you the time slots of those races. And as you can see, the next one is at 2 o'clock UK time. So that's what we're registered for. You can have 3 attempts at each series. So basically that means that throughout the week, you can have 3 goes at any particular series, any particular race, and it's your best score from those 3 that counts. So obviously I'm going to have 1 attempt at this today, and that's going to be the one that counts, but if I had a bad race, I could do 2 more attempts later in the week, maybe Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, maybe even later tonight, and try and improve my score for that round. And then obviously all that leads to a championship table. So if we go into multi-class masters, you can see the current round is running from the 11th of March till the 18th. It's Sebring. It's a 120-minute race. So guys, I am doing a race that involves 5 stints here. It's 2 times on the fuel, so the stints are relatively short, which means a lot of pit stops, a lot of strategy in play. I'm driving the 83 Ferrari AF Corsa because I've not driven the Ferrari yet on anything. I've not raced it, so this is going to be the first race in the Ferrari. Hey Dave, nice to see you again. Hope you're enjoying your week, and I hope you're enjoying your racing at the moment. We can see 20 people are registered. You can practice, you can view the standings, so let's do that. So we can see here who's leading the Hypercar and GT3 standings. That's a combined score, but obviously we can look at things specifically. And there's your points that have been scored on each of the rounds. We can also look at friends. We can do it by manufacturer. So, I mean, it's all Ferraris at the top, so maybe I'm in the right car for this. And then by nationality as well, so everyone else who's got the British flag. Actually, no, what am I talking about? Manufacturer just shows you the people that are in the same car as you. So this is all the other people in Ferraris that I can see on the leaderboard right now. So ignore what I was saying. Driver rank is like a specific series for people with a similar driver rank to you, or you get put into divisions, I'm pretty sure. And then nationality is obviously people that are the same nationality as me, so there you go. That's basically how online championships work. Very quick overview, but hopefully gives you an idea. As you can see, we have 21 people registered for this race. I actually have the highest driver ranking of everyone in Hypercar, but I'm very inexperienced relative to the others, potentially, because I've never done the championship mode before, and I'm assuming most of these people will have done 6 rounds. Who knows, but it means that my pace, obviously, we'll see where it is, but I am going to be focusing mainly on getting my gold safety ranking today. We'll see what happens with driver ranking as well, if I can have a good one. But as you can see at the bottom left, it's 4 times on the multiplier for driver ranking and 4 times for safety ranking. So however this race goes, good or bad, it's going to have a big influence on my ranking. It's open setups as well, so I'm going to be using Go setups. We have no tire warmers, realistic tire wear, but 2 times fuel. So we're going to be drinking the fuel like we were at Spa last week. Which means it's going to be like 4 stops in this race. And there's going to be a bit of strategy in it, which I'm really excited for. Yeah, I'm very good, thanks, Dave. Very good indeed. I had some fun last night playing Race Room. LFM and Race Room finally got together, and they launched in a kind of alpha testing form that anyone could take part in. So I did some Race Room LFM races last night, or 1 race, streamed it on the channel. That was good fun. Did some commentary in the evening, and then, yeah, LMU today. So this morning I got a couple of other things done for work. Got some testing done for Sebring, so I did a stint just to try and get an idea for fuel and how the car feels, obviously, because I'm kind of coming in cold. And then we're here. That's pretty much it. Hey Charlie, good to see you again. I appreciated all your assistance last time at Spa. It's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, so Sturk, you're racking up your SR, which in most races means hang back and stay out of trouble. Absolutely. Keep it clean. Because you don't need a gold driver ranking to get into any series, right? Get your gold safety ranking and then worry about coming up through the speed, building your speed up. I think that's a great idea. Okie dokie. Practice session. I mean, I'm only going to do a few laps here because obviously we have the official practice session starting very soon. No, I don't want to exit the session. We'll get that music muted. Yeah, if my mic's okay volume, that's fine. But if it's obviously I'm adjusting on the fly because of some weird things that have been happening. So if it feels all wrong, for any reason, just let me know. So let's just get a couple of laps in before we've got 6 minutes till the session activates essentially. So we'll get a couple of practice warm-up laps really. And we'll get some laps in the 499p, which I think is a pretty good hypercar. It's one of the better all-round hypercars. Obviously, it's the most recent winner in the World Endurance Championship this season. Very, very impressive pace at Qatar. We'll let these couple of hypercars go. But really here at Sebring, it's all about kind of bump management, traffic management, because it's multi-class. and obviously I'm going to be playing it slightly on the safe side just because I'm looking at safety ranking first, driver ranking second, and it's my first proper extra long endurance race. So obviously there's a lot to learn here, and as I've been doing throughout the series, whenever I'm doing something for the first time, which has been pretty much most streams, I'm kind of spending some time to get it right first, to learn it. I'm picking up things from you guys in the comments that are offering me suggestions, and then kind of improving from there. So Sebring is one of my favourite tracks in the world, by the way. Even though it's incredibly bumpy and a bit annoyingly bumpy with its hypercar, I'm in love with the circuit. It's so good. And I should probably point out as well that when we say multi-class here, it is the kind of current WEC multi-class form. So you've got just 2 classes, hypercar and GT3. Oh yeah, the pit lane is very interesting here because it's not the traditional Sebring pit lane, it's the WEC pit lane. And I missed that during my practice run this morning. I did like a practice stint just to get up to speed, and then I went to come into the pits when I was about to run out of fuel, and I realised it was coned off. And the pit lane obviously is the back straight, so I probably need to practice a pit lane entry at some point. That would be a good thing to do, I think. Very easy to catch you out. I'm going to apologise in advance if there are longer messages coming through in the comments during this stream, obviously, especially during the race. There aren't many straights on Sebring that you have time to really think about what you're doing with all the bumps, with the walls either side. So if you're leaving long comments and I don't have a chance to read them, I do apologise. I will do my best on the straights to take a glance over when possible. But I am seeing a question about whether we'll see LFM on LMU. I doubt it, Dave, simply because of obviously the connection between Coach Dave Academy and LMU and the setups and everything, so I'm not sure we'll see the likes of LFM on LMU, but who knows, we'll have to wait and see. I am just guessing. The tyres come up to temperature in about a lap or 2 here. After 1 lap, they're okay, and then 2 laps in, they're actually working properly. So that's kind of the bed-in time, and then obviously they're probably, I'd say, optimum after about 3 laps. Fortunately, I haven't had to build some sort of special setup here because I'm using Go Setups, who have obviously, as I've been saying in the previous streams, kindly given me a subscription to their service for this. So go and check them out. Just means you have to download the Sebring Ferrari 49 setup. I obviously made a few little tweaks to electronics and stuff just to make it work for me, and then go from there. So that's what we're going to be using. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's SimGrid, isn't it, that are kind of powering the online racing here. So there's no need for them to use LFM because it's a kind of similar thing. So I'm sure there'll be powers at play there, or discussions happening about, whether these sites can integrate. But if there's no need, there's no need. It obviously depends on the interests of both parties. This isn't the 1 stint sprint race, Charlie. This is the championship event. So this is a 2-hour race. I'm just doing the 1 race on today's stream for understandable reasons. It's going to be a long time in the hot seat, and obviously with all the bumps at Sebring as well, I've got the force feedback still relatively high. I'm running about 12 Newton meters, but I have turned the game force feedback down from 100% to 80 just to stop the clipping that obviously I've been having in the previous races. So I turned the in-game one from 100 down to 80, and I turned up the Newton meters from about 11 to over 12. So for 2 hours at Sebring, it's going to be a tiring one, I think. But traffic management is going to be very tough around here as well. Just trying to pick my way through the GT3s and knowing where to go slow and where to push is going to be hard as well. Nope. Gonna practice my pit lane entry, and then we're gonna join the main race server. So, the pit lane entry here, you come around this corner, then you start braking. I'm pretty sure it's over. Oh, I've gone too deep. Pretty sure. Oh no, you can get around that corner first, actually. That's what I'm not sure about. And then onto the pit limiter. So I don't know if you can you can, I think, cut that corner like I did there, but I don't know if you have to, or whether you can take the normal corner and then pull to the right. Just gonna have to be careful. Yeah, my arms are already, I think because I did a stint this morning and just jumping straight back in there, my arms are already a little bit sore. Okay, so pit lane entry is done. That's fine. Let's quit to the main menu and join our session. Okay, so we can join the event. There are, how many people in Hypercar? Matt's in he's in GT3. Matt, I'll try my best not to take you out. I'm so sorry in advance for everything I'm going to do to you in this race. There's 10 Hypercars, so let's jump in the event. First championship mode race. It's all about survival for me here. I want to get through cleanly. I want to get through safely. I'll finish where I finish. I'll do my best, obviously, but I'm going to be erring on the side of caution because this is Road to Gold. We want to get gold safety ranking before we then worry about driver ranking. Yeah, Anthony, 100%. It's tricky. And when you're in the prototype as well, it's a constant balancing act. I was learning. Obviously, I've done a lot of multi-class racing in real life and in sims over the years. But every time you do something new, different categories and stuff on a different game, you always have to relearn the kind of pace differences between the cars and how many risks you can take. And it's tough on both ends. Like I did the multi-class races at GT3 at Bahrain, and the hypercars were pretty good. There were a couple of instances where I get held up, but that's the nature of it. As long as it's not, if you're in a hypercar and you go down the inside, as long as you can safely get down the inside, even if the GT is slightly slowed down by missing the apex, it's still a genuine overtake, so that's okay. It's more about when the hypercars start like lunging from miles back. That's when it gets really dangerous. So it's a balance. And I'm going to do my best to be polite in traffic, like I was, or tried to be, at Spa last week. There were a few instances where I felt a bit bad. There were some close calls, but I'm trying to learn from those. And, it's just about decision-making in the moment and commitment. You can't be half-hearted. You have to fully go for it. Okie dokie. So we've got 5 minutes of practice. Let's just get straight out on a qualifying setup, and go from there. Yeah, 100%. Hypercar can always adjust their line better. It's always it's a tricky balancing act, but you've always got to err on the side. Like what I always say is the GT3s or the slower class of car is having just as important a race as you are, and their standings are just as important. So it's very much a case of you can make an overtake as long as you do it clearly. And you can't. What you can't be doing is lunging last minute or firing it down the inside of a really fast corner where the GT has to turn out of the corner. That's the thing. Right. I've got a question about what cars I think will get an AC Evo. Good question. I mean, I don't know, but I do know that we're going to have a lot of variety. And if you look at Assetto Corsa, the original, there were LMP1s in that came through in DLC packs, so yes, I would say we probably will see hypercars in AC Evo. I would not be surprised one bit. So right now I'm just, by the way, doing a little practice qualifying run for 2 minutes while we wait for practice to finish. I'd say, yeah, we will probably see hypercars. We'll obviously see GT3s. There'll be lots more. We'll see classic race cars as well, which I'm very excited about. So I'm expecting like Group C machinery. I'm hoping for old Formula cars as well. Just all the stuff that we loved in the original AC, the authentic content as well, not even modded content. We had so many great pieces of content in the original Assetto Corsa, and I think Evo will try and replicate that and hopefully bring in some new ideas as well. So I'm excited, but it's going to take time. Oh, thank you, Stephen. I will do my best. I'm not. Oh, he says, locking up. I'm not expecting to take home the W, but I will obviously try my best, and we'll see where we end up. It's a long race, so I think we'll see how pace is at the start. We'll see how pace is in qualifying, and as the first stint unfolds. err on the side of caution, and then see where we're at. Really, that's the plan. The calculations I did this morning in terms of fuel. So obviously I did that stint, and I used did the maths from it. I managed 13 laps in that stint with a little bit of lift and coast, just to get me over the line on that 13th lap. And I think that if I do 4 pit stops, I think I can do essentially 5 13-lap stints, and that's probably going to be about spot on. There is a chance, depending on the pace of the race, which I'm not sure what to expect. If the race is fast enough, we might need a 14th lap on the last stint, which is going to be difficult, so we've got to save a lap of fuel. But if the pace isn't quite as strong, then I think we can do it on lots of 13-lap stints. And obviously there's going to be traffic and stuff, so I think that's potentially more likely, and that just makes strategy so easy. Good afternoon, Tom. How's it going? Long time no speak. It's the pressure of me being on the other end of your... Although you're not pressing any buttons this time, but... Now you get to chat about me driving instead of me chatting about other people driving. Hope you're having a good day anyway. So easy to lock up in these cars. And actually, I need to turn my motor back up. I forgot. I've not used enough of the energy, so that's something I need to sort out, so I'm not losing the back under braking. Burn through some of the battery, so I need to remember to do that at the start of qualifying. And qualifying is exactly what we're about to go into. So here, for example, I could send it in inside the BMW, and it's going to be decisions to be made in that situation in the race, whether you wait for those 3 corners or whether you go for it and then, see what happens into the last corner. But it's a very 50-50. Those are the kind of decisions that I'm going to have to work out as I go in the race, because I've not got the experience around here of this particular combination. So we shall see how it goes. 12 minutes of qualifying, which means it's 2 minutes per lap, or less than 2 minutes per lap. So I'm going to need like 7 or 8 laps of fuel. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's tricky. It's like, for me, the ones that are tricky are like the 80-20s. 80% chance I'll be fine if I go for it. 20% chance I'm going to kind of really mess up the other car by slowing them down or making that. Those are the ones that I struggle with morally. They're saying qualifying's 10 minutes, so that's interesting. I'm going to have to hide the setup menu, just because obviously this is a paid subscription service for the setup, so it would be a bit unfair of me to go and give everyone that setup. So let me just add in... I'll add in a lap of fuel, just to make sure I've got enough here. Let's do it. Okay. Right, private qualifying. 10 minutes of qualifying. My first ever championship qualifying session. 50 litres of fuel is going to be enough. Ignore the number on the right of the fuel, because it's actually a lot less than 8.8 laps of fuel. I'm hoping I've got 6 or 7 laps of fuel in the tank, and the car is not going. The tyres barely wear in that session, so I'm not worried about that. Yeah, it totally depends on what kind of race you do in terms of the numbers. So obviously this championship race had, I think it was like, what, 30 people or something overall, 20-something people registered, maybe a bit more, I can't quite remember, but it's not a huge number. But obviously that's because A, it's a paid subscription tier service. Just do this first lap to warm the tyres. And also it's a much longer race, so the daily races are going to have much bigger numbers and be much more popular, but they have been super popular recently. So yeah, I think doing a championship mode, I actually noticed that lots more people registered for the race this evening, which makes a lot of sense. More people have spare time to do some racing in the evenings than the day. So the numbers are pretty good, even though this is, one of 4 paid championships, essentially. So, obviously the only people that can play this are people that have got a subscription, and then within that, you're only going to get maybe a quarter that commit to one of the 4 championships. So yes, I'm actually just happy I can have a race. And that's the thing on LMU as well. Since I've started doing the streaming, or since I've actually been playing LMU online at all, I've never ever not been able to get a race with numbers. It's always been at least a full split, or, you know, I think this is probably the smallest grid or the smallest number of registrations I've ever seen. And even that, I'm still having a proper race here with, you know, more than 10 cars per class, so that's good. That's definitely one of the plus sides. Let's turn that motor map back down again all of a sudden. There we go. Thank you so much, Marco. That's very kind of you. Very kind of you. We will do our best. We will continue to push. We've got a video coming out for you guys this evening, which is interesting. Looking into why a lot of sim racing and racing titles are actually making the switch to consoles in the coming year. So do keep an eye out on the on your sub box if you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel, because it really obviously helps us continue to grow, which helps us continue to make more videos, etc, etc. The more people that follow us and can find our content useful, the more useful our content can be, essentially. But if you are subscribed, you'll see that video pop up around about 5 PM today, so after the stream finishes. Right, qualifying mode. We'll leave traction control at 7, actually. Good luck, Matt, if you can hear me. Oh yeah, I would love to, Callum. I would love to. If you could just ask SimLab for me, that would be great. Also, hi Callum. Nice to see you again. Hope you're well. Thanks for tuning in. This is my first qualifying run on this combo, so it's a bit of a voyage of discovery in terms of how the car is going to behave, but it feels pretty good so far, I'd say. The thing about Sebring as well is, oh dear, compared to other circuits, Sebring requires a little bit more traction control, I'd say, to be quick, just because of all the bumps and stuff. So it's one of those tracks where it might be quite good to run a slightly higher traction control than it is to get optimal lap time, just to try and also like protect your tires, for example. It's another element that I'm not sure about with a 2-hour race. I'm obviously going to start on mediums, and I think the mediums do last quite a while. But will they last the whole race? 2 hours? I'm probably not. So I think I'll be taking a new set of tyres on either stop 2 or 3. But I'll just have to monitor that as the race goes on. Obviously, taking tyres is going to cost you a little bit of extra time in the pits, but also it puts you out on cold tyres, which costs you extra seconds on the next few laps. Right. Should get 3 or 4 more laps in here. Ooh, horrible. Missed the apex by miles in turn 1. Currently P2, 6/10 off pole, but obviously everyone's still warming up and coming in. But it's I think it's a positive start, I would say. Lockup. Oh, hit the channel bell. Thank you, Pixel Chris. Yes, hit the notification bell, because then you will see the uploads in your inbox as they come in. But spoiler alert, it's going to be 5 o'clock UK time today. And it usually is if there's our usual thing is a video on Thursday at 5 o'clock, obviously, unless there's either additional videos or unless there's like, you know, breaking news or embargoes or things where we have to kind of rush something out another day or another time. But generally speaking, Traction upload on Thursdays at 5 PM UK. So that's when you should see the videos, but hit the bell and then you definitely won't miss any. It's pretty nice through there. 3.5 minutes to go. I'm happy with that. Yeah, mediums double stint, that's what I'm thinking, but depends on... Oh dear, do you mean double stint with ×2 fuel? Because obviously the stints are half as long. Or do you mean like a, you know, normal double stint? Because essentially this race is going to be 2.5 stints long. Or 2.5 full stints, if that makes sense.
7.72.
Doesn't really matter that I'm locking up and everything right now because it's just qualifying. Oh, too wide. Ruined my good first corner. We're going to get one more attempt at this though. Oh, too greedy on the throttle. You can just see the car absolutely fighting against me through here. The traction control doing what it can to keep me in check. Just so bumpy, so slippy. No! Ah, missed the apex badly. Like 2/3 gone there. I'll do my best. Yeah, fuel consumption is, if I save a tiny bit of fuel during the stint, even just, lift and coast for maybe 2 or 3 laps, even maybe 2 laps, I'd say, I can actually make 13 laps okay. So that's the target. And that saves us a pit stop at the end if we do every stint at 13 laps. Right, final lap now. Currently sitting on pole, but it's very, very close, so pace is going to be, it's going to be a good battle at the front, I think. That's not going to help, John. Ah. Too scrappy, guys. I'm going to keep going anyway, because it's still, what, 2/10 in it, so I can find 2/10. I can find 3/10. Guy in P2's gone into the pits though, so if the two of us have more pace than everyone else, then that could be pole position. I'm knackered already, guys, and it's a two-hour race ahead, and I've done like 5 laps. It's just because I'm tense because it's qualifying. Yeah, this is the championship mode. So this is what the paid tier gets you with Le Mans Ultimate. So if you pay a subscription to Race Control Pro, you can take part in these championship races. And if you watch back the start of this stream at some point, you'll get a full description of what those championship races, what they mean, what they do. This ain't going to be an improvement, but I want to keep it valid for my safety rating. Slightly different line to the last corner seemed to work okay. Right, checkered flag. We're currently on pole position. I'm going to get ready for the race real quick because there's barely any time to breathe. But yeah, we might have pole. Let me load up the race setup. There we go. Yeah, it's very bumpy, very tricky. 1:47.4 is an okay lap time. I definitely think, I've seen people during the practice sessions, some of the top drivers doing like 46s. So I'm definitely not, even though I'm first in this at the moment, there's definitely, there's a lot more pace available for the faster drivers. So I'm very aware that just because I'm first in this qualifying session doesn't mean I'm up there pace-wise. But for this race with one split, I mean, it looks like the top 4 are within half a second. There's 3 Ferraris and a Porsche. So, I mean, this could be an amazing race. Thanks, Matt. How did you get on? How did you get on? 4th in GT3? Nice. Looks like it's pretty close for you guys as well. Apart from the guy on pole, who's Vaskin, who's 7/10 clear. So fair play. But yeah, best of luck to you, Matt. I'll do my usual with traffic. I'll do my best to be kind. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy this one. I don't know if you're sticking the stream on while you're driving, but if you are, obviously you'll hear how things are going. Yeah, this is the thing. 4 stints on mediums. I think I'm gonna, and it's 5 stints this race, so I think I'm gonna do. I'll probably take new tires midway through. Right. Okay. Here we go. Just gonna check things on the setup, make sure they're okay. But I think they should be. Maybe the faster race strategy is to take hards, for example, and do the whole thing rather than mediums and one, one tire stop. But the problem is, I don't know that, and I'd rather go slightly more aggressive to be safe and test that first, and then learn from it. So I think we'll be okay. Do I also turn my force feedback down by a Newton meter to protect my arms? Probably not a bad idea if I can do it in time. Or I'll just, you know what, I can just suffer the pain. I need to get training anyway. My real racing season starts next week, and I'm racing a single seater. It is only in hill climbs and sprints, so you're not on track for as long. But we can do a 2-hour stint. It'll be good for us. Get your predictions in as well, guys. Where am I going to finish? That'd be fun, Adam. That'd be very fun. Circuit racing this year, I'm not going to do too much. I think I'm going to do 1 or 2 races, but yet to be confirmed. You happen to know a team, Adam? Interesting. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been doing the proper circuit stuff, but I'll be back at it again at some point if the opportunity presents itself. God bless my arms. We'll see what happens, Callum. Cheers. I'm actually really nervous. I am nervous, but I'm going to play it calm. I've got good pace, clearly. We're just going to have some fun. Grip level's high. A little bit of fuel saving, stuff like that. And we'll see what happens. Wish me luck. Cheers, Adam. Out of line, come on. It's not helpful when it doesn't show you the line. Whew, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. Again, just a reminder, safety rating first. So I might be a bit tentative, and that's fine. I'm okay with it. Cold tires as well at the start. I just want to finish this race. If we've got good pace, then we can come back into this.
Green flag.
But I'll do my best to. I think the safest place is out in front if I can stay there. But obviously, there's cars behind me with a lot of pace. Up the traction control for the first lap. And I'm going to protect the tyres, guys, because I'm doing a few stints on them and no point locking up in the early laps for no reason. We'll try and get some fuel saving done early on as well. Or do we try and make a break for it? The tyres don't actually feel too cold. There's a little bit of heat in them, I think. Maybe a kind of fake formation lap to get some heat in them. I'll get my engine regen down as well, now that we've done a few corners. So there we go, down to 60. I'll manage that bar on the right, so I'm going between 60 and 80 really. I also think this race might get dark later on, so that's something to watch out for. Right. Let's settle down. Long way to go, long way to go. Yeah, I think there is, because of the short start, I think there is a little bit of heat, because the game gives you, I can imagine it, fakes a formation lap, right? Yeah.
Time 1:55.67.
Ugh. Such a tricky tame. It's a tricky beast to tame, this. Hypercars are proper cars. I think I'll do my saving fuel a little later. If I can just get air between myself and P2 and 3, let them battle. That's not going to help. Take some heat off me and worry about fuel saving a little later on, rather than doing it and giving them motivation to chase me. But the thing is, I clearly have good pace. My pace is up there with the quickest, so that's good. But there's so many other elements to think about here, with strategy, with tire life experience, with the, you know, there's so many things that can make or break your race other than pace. And if these guys are in the final round of a championship season, they might have done these races before. They'll know more than me about tire strategy. They might be doing something really smart with fuel, saving more than me. You know, all of these sorts of things. So I just need to be on my A game, do my best, and kind of don't assume. Basically, expect the unexpected from the other drivers as well. Expect some clever strategies that I haven't considered, for example.
That time was a 150.21.
Got my traction control a little bit high, but I think I'm actually going to leave it there. I think I might go a bit quicker with it lower, but right now I don't necessarily want that. Doing a tiny bit of lift and coast, just where I feel comfortable with it. Right. Got a lapped Peugeot up in front, who's obviously had issues on the opening lap. But because they're in the same class as us and they're lapped down, I think they'll probably get out of my way. There are no yellow flags like safety cars or anything for them to get a lap back, so hopefully this car doesn't cause me any issues if I can catch them. Gonna use a bit more of the motor now.
Lap 148.82.
Finally actually hit my apex at turn 1. The bumps make you dizzy, honestly. Alright, hopefully this Peugeot's polite to me here as a lap traffic. You let me go? No. To be fair, he did leave me room. Didn't go off the racing line, but that's absolutely fine, doesn't need to. So, fair play from the Peugeot. Main thing was he didn't actually defend the position. Right, 2-second lead. Oh, good spot. So the Ferrari's dropped back and the Porsche's got him. And if he's lost the rear on exit, that's not going to be great for the tyres, etc., and the confidence. So we'll see if the Porsche has more speed. No idea what the Porsche's fuel is like relative to Ferrari, but because of virtual energy and the purpose of virtual energy means it should be fairly leveled out. essentially the fuel, the whole point of virtual energy is to balance the fuel levels between different manufacturers, so no one car should have a big fuel advantage in terms of stint length over another. What I do want to do is check my
Time
fuel usage. It's okay right now, I think.
1.07.
Don't know exactly what number I'm looking for. Start doing a little bit of lifting coast now, I'd say. Just for a couple of laps, and then that should get us over the line for our 13 laps stint. I actually think as well, like lifting and coasting is really interesting because even though it obviously slows you down, I actually think sometimes it forces you to drive like a tiny bit more conservatively. And actually, a lot of the time when you're pushing on, you're overdriving the car and you're losing lap time. So by lifting and coasting, you end up going a tiny bit slower into the corner and actually quite often hit the apex better. And then a better driver wouldn't do that. But if you're me and you're missing apexes, once or twice a lap, your lifting and coasting actually kind of prevents that from happening. Like I did it on this lap and I'm actually 5/10 up. So there you go. The tyre symbol for P3, yeah, thank you for answering that, Adam. So he's got mediums on the right sides, rear left is medium, left front is hard.
Time 1:48.2.
This pace though, I think it's going to be okay for... I was saying if the pace is very quick, we might end up having to do an extra lap at some point later on, but I don't think the pace is quick enough at the moment. And it's me that's leading, so... that was the thing, really. Couple of mini lockups under. You're basically over those bumps there. Got 2.7 seconds. We're coming up to traffic. I'm going to be the first to catch the traffic, which is always means that the traffic's probably going to... I would say I'm more likely to lose because they're going to not suspect me as much. But that's easy to say when you're winning. Thank you, McLaren. We'll have a look at tyre wear next. So we're 12 seconds behind the back of the GT3s. Tyre wear, we've got 95 all round. That's pretty good. So we've used 5% of the tyres. Oh, that's a bit wide. And what you'll find is lap times gets ever so slightly faster as the stint goes on, because the fuel usage is ×2, whereas the tyre wear is ×1. So you'll find that the fuel burns quicker than the tyres wear relatively compared to usual. So that means that later in the stint you've got, not very worn tyres, but you've got obviously a very light car. So if you were pushing, like full speed, the faster laps would come at the end of the stint. It is looking good so far, Tom. Porsche has been overtaken. I'm glad that you guys are watching the race for second. I'm not paying attention to it. Oh, that's a lockup. I mean, it's probably good that I'm not paying attention to it, but... if any of you guys watched my LFM Race Room stream last night, you'll see what happens when I don't pay enough attention. It's not always good. Right, this is an awkward place to catch the Beamer, but we can get him. Perfect. So that's one spot we can get people. I think another one, if you're catching him a bit quicker, if I was up to the back of him a bit earlier, I probably would have gone the right-hand side and gone around the outside of the left-hander, but that's tricky because the car is very, you're trying to accelerate out of that corner, it's very loose, and you're really relying on traction control. But right now I'm actually, as I said earlier, I could turn the traction control down further, and I'm just not going to, because I don't feel like I need the extra pace right now. I could definitely drive faster if I wanted to, and it's just keeping me in check a little bit more. I've got about 0.1 of a lap of NRG still to save, so tiny bit more lifting and coasting, and then we should be good to make it 13 laps. And remember, it's the endurance, it's the WEC pit lane, so it's not this pit lane, it's the other one in the back straight. This is where it gets interesting though.
Time 1:48.71.
That was not bad, not the worst time to catch that McLaren. This is a little more awkward. But you know what? No rush. No rush at this stage. Turn my motor map up slightly just to use a bit more battery. Okay, that's them coming through the traffic now, so we'll see some big fluctuations in the time toing and froing, which is obviously the best part about multi-class racing. I was a bit decisive there. That would cost the Ferrari a little bit of time, but I was very careful. Oh, is there still clipping? I hadn't even noticed. I'd taken it down from 100 to 80, so we've clearly still got a bit of a clipping issue. I can resolve later on. I'm not obviously paying attention too much to that while I'm driving. BMW, I was worried was going to understeer towards the exit of the circuit there, but they actually had it all under control, so we went around the outside, no problem. So far, so good on the traffic, though. This timing is going to be pretty grim with the McLaren, but I think I'll be okay. Yeah, that's the thing. So, of those lapping instants so far, I would say I've probably cost one car, half a second, maybe max, probably a bit less than that, by going for a move down the inside, but I was safe, so it's okay. I think I was in my right to do it. The BMW out the exit of the last corner, he chose to lift a little and stay away from the wall, so that was okay. And then the other cars maybe lost a tenth with me kind of go down the inside and then them being close to me. But again, that is, I would say, completely reasonable lapping. I don't think there's anything wrong with those ones. It's the ones where you send it late and you run wide and you cost them loads. Those are the ones that are the ones to watch. It's so easy to lose concentration around here, honestly. Like, every time I go into Sunset Bend, I have to remind myself to focus just as hard as every other lap, because getting complacent would be so easy.
Time 1:48.86.
We're good for fuel now as well, though. I think NRG absolutely fine. So I think my lifting and coasting has worked, and the traffic probably helps a little. Take my motor map down though. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if there was a bit, I haven't obviously looked at why there's clipping, but I think it's also the bumps at Sebring. So as long as, you know, as long as I'm not clipping every time I'm turning through a fast corner, it's okay. I've given myself headroom, so if it's just big bumps happening around Sebring, for example, then I'm okay with that. Actually, I do want to do a tiny bit more lift and coast, just because I don't actually know how far down the pit lane my pit box is. If I'm right down the end, it could hit 0 before I get to my pit box, so I want to be coming through here before I would hit 0, so I've actually also had to turn my motor map down slightly, which means I'm going to use more fuel. So I will do a tiny bit more lift and coast before my pit stop, just to be safe. There's no reason not to. I don't know if I've seen Matt yet. I don't think I've seen Matt. Yeah, pits in the back straight, don't worry. I learnt that the hard way this morning when I did my practice stint and then ran out of fuel in the pit straight because I thought the pit lane was the normal one. I'm going to do a lift and coast into this braking zone. Here. Just small ones. Barely loses you any time. I also think, by the way, that the car behind, the fact that he started with a hard tyre on the front left, that tells me that he's probably going to do a no-stop strategy. If he thinks that mediums are going to last 4 stints, and there's 5 stints in this race, it might be that the front left's the only one that can't last 5, and that's why he's put a hard on the front left. So I'm gonna go on the assumption that the car behind is not taking tyres at any point, which means I'll need to be slightly more aware of that gap, because obviously I'm going to lose a bit of time in the pits taking tyres later on. However, at this current pace and this current gap and everything, I think I can manage that. I'm going to stick to my known strategy. Yes, the pit lane is at the back simply because when WEC came to Sebring in 2023, which is obviously what this game's initial content is based on, they shared with IMSA the 12-hour of Sebring, and obviously IMSA cars took the main front stretch pit garages and WEC took the rear, so that is exactly why. Okay, no tyres, virtual energy and fuel, all good. I think we're ready for our pit stop. Still not seen a Matt Webb. Which car is the best? Very subjective. Every single track has different, the cars have different strengths and weaknesses. Like at Spa, for example, the Lamborghini seemed really strong, even though it's not the strongest all-rounder. Ferrari and Porsche and probably Toyota, I would say based on real life, they're probably the 3 strongest all-rounders in hypercar, that is. But then the Cadillac's also, the Cadillac's also very strong at certain tracks as well. BMW and the Alpine have their moments. Okay, so we're pitting this lap, guys, so I'm going to take it nice and easy. Definitely lost a little bit being safe into the pits, but it's pit stop number 1. That's okay. Let's see how far down we are. Have I come in a lap early? Oh, I've come in a lap early. I literally saw the warning come up saying I need to pit, and I've just pitted. Okay, that's silly. Right. Okay, that is not great. I do need to... I've literally just pitted a lap early, and it's because when you come across the line, when it thinks you're needing fuel soon, it automatically requests a pit stop. And instead of me really taking my time and thinking about it, I just went, okay, that's me, last lap, and then I should have checked it. So it'll mean a shorter pit stop, which is good. But I'll need to lift and coast and save an extra. I mean, it won't take too much. I had 0.3 left, so I just need to save another 0.7 of a lap compared to that stint. But that does mean I'm gonna have to, make that up again, which is silly. So I'll maybe do it on this stint just to get back in the train, essentially. So fully on me, fully on concentration. The kind of thing I said I need to not get complacent about. But it's okay. It's okay. Oh wait, Matt, are you off? Are you off the track? Why are you in the comments and not in the race? Or are you pitting? Tires are still pretty warm. Let's see if
That time was a 2:58.7.
hang on, let's get past this corner first. I'm hoping the other hypercars all pit in this lap, basically. Okay, yeah, leader's in. Okay, so that's fine. So it was just me. I just need to save one lap of fuel by lifting and coasting more on one stint, and then I'll be okay. Thank you for seeing me, BMW. Okay, so it's end of lap 26 is the next time into pit. That's made the race more interesting, potentially, though. Oh, yeah, Matt is out. Oh, he dead. That's a shame. I'm not going to look while I'm going through the traffic, I'm afraid. That BMW totally put through me there because I thought he was going into the pits, and then suddenly I was missing the apex by a mile. Okie dokie. So, what I wanted to do was see if I could set a lap target. But I don't know. It's weird. When I was doing the testing earlier, I tried putting lap target on at one point, and I didn't see any lights giving me a lap target to go for. So the feature didn't seem to be working as I would expect it to.
51.07.
Oh, there it is. It's working now. Okay, so the purple, basically to explain lap target, if you set that to number 1, Porsche's going long, if you set lap target to a number 1, it basically tells you how much you need to lift and coast by to extend your stint by 1 lap. So the lights go purple and it kind of counts you down. So if you look at the steering wheel right now, the vertical lights just on either side of the main lights, you'll see these purple lights start counting in, and when they get to the top, I'm meant to lift before braking. So if I follow the instructions of the steering wheel and I lift where the steering wheel tells me to lift, then brake, I will save a lap's worth of fuel across the stint. And the lights will stop going purple when it knows I've saved enough, which is very cool. But I'm also kind of doing it manually, just, I'm maybe trying to lift and save a bit more at the start, which will help me later on. Okay, Porsche's in the pit, so they've actually done quite a lot of fuel saving. So that Porsche is going to come into play later, for sure. If it's doing extra laps on the stints, it's going to mean that it's going to have a shorter final pit stop. The Ferrari's got hards on the front left, so the Ferrari in third might be taking no tyres. I'm probably going to take tyres, and I should be quicker at the end of the race, but it'll obviously cost me a bit of time in the pits. So there's lots of different strategies at play here. I think there's 3 cars of the top 3 right now. Any of us could win this race. Yeah, you're right about the stop, Matt. Early stop. Yes, it was a mistake, but it did mean that I could pit with no pressure, and there was no one else around me to crash into me in the pit lane, so it's okay. Yeah, so there's a few people going long, so lots of different strategies at play. It's interesting. I enjoy that though. If I have the pace and I need to work for a win because I've not applied the best strategy, I'm okay with that. It's fun. And it definitely forces me to keep driving as quick a race as I can, because I essentially need to win this on pace. If they're going to gain, 15, 20 seconds on me on a pit stop at some point, then I need to be 15 or 20 seconds faster than them across the rest of the race. So it's teed up perfectly. Oh, bit deep. My regen's full, so I need to use more of the battery. We'll use 100 for a few laps. You can tell when your regen, you can tell when the battery's full, because when you hit the brake pedal, you feel the rear start to lock and the balance is all off, and that's how you know you need to burn more of your battery, basically. Sorry, McLaren. I think that was the safest thing I could have done. I couldn't fit between the two of them, so I think I did okay there. Come on, burn the battery. There we go.
Lap 1:49.80.
The other unknown, of course, with the fuel target. Now, I've set the fuel target to save me 1 lap of fuel over, you know, what it's expecting to do. Now, the question is, bear in mind in the first stint, I actually had to save a tiny bit of fuel myself manually in order to make the 13 laps, which I didn't end up using. So when I set fuel target to 1 lap, does that mean it's just going to get me up to the 13 laps? Or does that mean it's going to get me up to 14? Because essentially, I'm asking it to gain me 1.3 laps of fuel, not 1. And I don't know whether the fuel target, you know, which of the lap guides basically the fuel target's going for, right? So that's something I need to work out, and I don't know how to work that out unless you just try it. But I'd say right now I'm erring on the side of caution, and I am lifting more than the target's telling me to. +1 in the current stint. That's the thing. So, but if I was only needing plus, so actually yes, I will need to save a bit more. If it's +1 on what the stint was going to be, then my stint was going to be 0.3 of a lap. I needed to save 0.3 anyway. So essentially, the lap target's going to get me one lap of fuel, and I need to save the 0.3 myself. I think that makes sense. That's actually the most simple way to think about it. So that's fine. Saving a bit more than it's telling me to is actually a good thing. And if I accidentally save an extra lap of fuel, then I go an extra lap, and that's fine as well. Just gets me closer to that Porsche. There's no harm.
Time 1:49.17.
I tell you what, strategic races are so much more enjoyable when you've actually got decent enough pace, because it means you can put the brain energy into playing around with it a little more and thinking about it, knowing that you've got the pace at the end of the day if you need it. So, like, I think doing a really clever strategic race when you don't have the outright pace is harder. It makes it more beneficial maybe to get a better result, but when you feel like you've just got that edge, it's so much more comforting, I would say. John and Robert Kubica, I'll take that, Ross. You know, Robert Kubica was my favourite F1 driver from 2006 onwards. He was the guy. Robert Kubica, BMW Sauber, that's who I was supporting through those years of Formula 1 when I was 9, 10 years old. And I was so devastated when he got his injury. But I just love supporting him now in WEC and everything as well. I just really like him. And he was obviously driving this car. It's the Kubica Ferrari, so the reference makes sense. And he was also doing some saving at Qatar, wasn't he? He's good on the old race management, is our Robert.
Lap 149.1.
It's not all about Nigel. This feels like a real race is the best way I can describe this. It feels very authentic. I feel like I've just really got to focus. It feels like I've, oh, that's just I say that, first big mistake. That was me trying to leave too much space for the McLaren. It feels like I've got to focus, goes off the track instantly. It does feel like I've got to really concentrate and, think my way through it. I'm not really having many battles on track, but I'm having huge battles with the timing screens, with the strategy, all these kind of things, so. It's good stuff. Not had a single off track yet. Obviously I had an actual off track that lap, but I've not had a single track limit warning, I should say, so not any contact either. So safety rating wise, it's been perfect so far. Driver ranking sitting at P1, so this could be really helping us in our road to gold here. Unlimited tyre sets, Dan, but 84% front left. So I'm trying to decide. I could go all the way on the mediums, but I've never tested it. So right now it's a decision about whether I risk it all and go all the way on mediums, which will be a faster strategy, I would think, or whether I go more aggressive, take new mediums at some point, lose a bit of time in the pits and obviously in the outlap, but then have good tyres towards the end and not have to worry about it when potentially everyone else is around me. Like the Ferrari's got a hard front left, so I'm gonna guess that they're going all the way. But if they think they need a hard front left to go all the way, then that's also a red flag to me without a hard front left, That just tells me that someone's done the prep and knows that it's better to have a hard front left to make it all the way. So it's really interesting. Yeah, you're so right. You can't be in the midfield if you're looking for SR. I'm still fuel saving big time just to not get complacent. We'll just see if it's enough and whether I have to do it more in the next stint or whether it gets me back on track. So I'm definitely losing lap time with my fuel saving a bit, but I'm okay with it. My pit stop was shorter because I had obviously a lap's left of energy and fuel in the tank already, so that's one advantage. Yeah, take new mediums. That's what I'm thinking, Liz. That's the current plan. New mediums at pit stop 2 or 3. Probably 3, because I've been being a bit more cautious on my tyres in the opening part of this race. I'm lifting and coasting a bit more, so then I can go all out for the last 2 stints on new tyres. That's what I'm thinking. And that's a good point, Adam, as well. It might not mean they can't make it, it might just mean they're overheating. But hey, I think mediums. More fun, more safe. Yeah, almost a free tyre change, but at the same time, I'm going to come out on cold tyres, so I see what you mean, but I'm probably going to lose the lead. But if I can get a big enough lead by pit stop 3, then it's okay, I think I need, is it 12 seconds for a tyre change? And then I'll probably lose about 6 seconds on the outlap or something. I'm gutted Matt's not in the race. It would have been nice to see you on track. I've had 0 issues in traffic so far, and I thought it was going to be a bigger problem, but actually I think the GT3s have done a really good job of being aware of what's going on. I've caught them at a good time, generally speaking. Everyone's given me room. I think the traffic's been really, really positive so far. 5.1 laps of energy. I think I needed more lift and coast here.
Lap 148.65.
If I've got 5 laps of usable energy, that's only going to get me... Oh, that is under lap 26. So no, that is actually bang on. So I think I'm okay. I think I've basically hit my target for saving that lap, getting that lap back. See, that's the thing, when Le Mans Ultimate reveals themselves in the chat, you're gonna have to answer the questions now. The community speak. we're gonna get some no comments coming in. We don't want admins and social media people to lose their jobs for answers. Yes, we want the answers. Yeah, good point actually. Yeah, the Peugeot, he's got hards on the front. I think he might. You're so right. 67%. He might be saving a whole stop here. And you know what? That's awesome, right? The problem is though, he's a lap down, so it could also be. I think he might. You know what? That might actually be the Peugeot that I caught early on and lapped. So maybe he had damage and took a tank. So it does look like he's going to try and do that. But I think he's a lap down, and I think he lost. You know, that's because he'd had a pit stop on lap 1 or 2. So. Definitely want to keep an eye on though. He is a full lap behind, I think, so even if he does save a stop, I don't think it's going to be an issue. Just to show you my settings here, guys, as well, traction control, I'm running 8, 6, 7 on the traction, 2 and 5 on the roll bar. Pretty sure I can stop lifting and coasting now, to be honest, and saving fuel. I'm doing it anyway out of habit now, just because it's fun. But I think I don't need to do it anymore in terms of getting my extra lap. I think I'm there. Obviously, it's the for anyone who's not been playing Le Mans Ultimate, and it's a bit confusing. It's not the fuel I'm worried about. It's the usable energy. It's the percentage of the bottom number basically that I need to keep an eye on. 3.4 laps. And bear in mind, the pit lane's on the back straight, so I don't need that extra bit. I just need to be able to get to this bit here, and I've clearly got 0.3 in hand. So everything I save now is just gonna knock off a second, for example, in a pit stop, because I've got less to fill. Yeah, cheers, Michael. Yeah, it's going well. We are now a tyre stop ahead. But we're not, I'd say we're a tyre stop ahead, but it'll be very close when I come out, and I'd have cold tyres. So if I can go one extra stint, if I can get that gap bigger, change tyres, come out still in first, then we're good. So that's the plan. Not taking tyres on this one, I'm going to take tyres on the 3rd stop. And that then gives me new tyres for the last 2 stints of the race, so nothing to worry about. Once again, perfect timing for catching traffic. Don't know why I'm still getting purple lights for my 1 lap of fuel target, just because I've already feel like I've saved a lap, so it shouldn't really be giving me any lifting coasting now. So that's something I'm not quite sure about. I would have thought that once I'd saved that lap, it stops needing to tell me to do any lift and coast. Oh, when will we see Le Mans Ultimate in console? Such a good question. Yes, Le Mans Ultimate, tell us. Tell us when we're going to see you in console. Actually, that's exactly what the topic of today's video on Traction is going to be related to. So, do keep an eye on the channel, on the videos around about 5 o'clock. Goodbye, McLaren. Keep an eye on the video coming out at 5 o'clock because we're going to talk about, obviously, you know, there's nothing in there that's... I'm trying to think if there's anything. Actually, there are some exclusive quotes in there from a few different people. So, it's all about basically the race for racing games and sim racing developers to move to consoles, because we're seeing a lot of it at the moment. So yeah, if you're interested in finding that out about console, watch the video coming out at 5 o'clock on this Traction channel. As I say, there are a couple of exclusive quotes in there from game developers and CEOs, so always interesting. Oh, hang on. Just realised I was burning way too much of my battery, so we're gonna have to let that recharge. You can just see my lap time's getting slowly better once I burn off a bit of fuel. The good thing from this stint is I've learned that I can save a lap of fuel lifting and coasting, so that gives me confidence if at the end of the race, the last stint for example, if I've got a lead, I can save a lap of fuel just in case the race goes on a lap longer than I kind of expect it to. So I think that's definitely worthwhile. Okay, in next lap, and it will be... Hang on, that's not the end of lap, it's lap 24. Oh no, it's going to be lap 25 when I get there. Hang on a minute. It's so confusing because the lap counter starts in the pit straight. It's very hard to tell, because that's now going on to lap 25. Hopefully they see me. Yeah. Just. So maybe I wasn't saving enough fuel. Interesting. All right, because I think it had to say 26, right? For me to get that lap back. I did 12 laps in the first stint. So if I'd done the same, it would have been 24. And then I needed to say 25. So I needed to say 26. So actually, I've saved one lap of fuel. I've not actually got the extra lap. Interesting. All right, more work to be done. More fuel saving to be done the next stint then. Ooh. Interesting. Hey Mark, how's it going? There's a lot of thinking going on in this race in terms of fuel strategy, etc. And a lot of uncertainty on my end about fuel saving, so actually I'm going to have to come in this lap. I might have to save an extra lap of fuel than I thought on one of the stints, so... Hey, it's okay, we've got a 15-second lead. Yeah, lap target... See, Andy, I actually am not listening to the lap target because it's still telling me to save. Oh, stop. It's still actually telling me to save anyway, so I think I just need to pay attention. I was thinking it wasn't working properly, but actually I just hadn't saved as much as I thought. So there you go. More saving required. Let's try and do the saving then on this stint when we've got the older tyres. We're going to take an extra 0.01 of an extra 1 litre of fuel, just in case fuel's a bit tight for any reason. Okay, pit stop. Yeah, you're right, James. You're absolutely right. So I thought I was actually doing a really good job of saving an additional lap because I was actually lifting and coasting more. But actually, I wasn't doing enough at all. So I need to do more lift and coast. So I'm going to set the fuel target to 2, as Andy suggests. Andy, thank you for the dev advice. It's not pit stop settings, is it? It's here. Let's do it quickly. So we want lap target to be 2, and let's listen to it. So yeah, right now I really need to save that lap just to be absolutely safe on strategy. So Yeah, you're right. So I need to do bigger lift and coast, and you know what? I think I can do it. I'll just do extra at the start, just be really like absolutely focused on it, and lose a little bit of time, but just make sure that I get there, you know. So now the lift and coast, the purple lights on the steering wheel are going to come on nice and early here, and I'm going to listen to them. So you'll see the purple lights on now, and then I'm going to lift now. So that's how it works basically. As soon as those lights, it's basically a countdown, and as soon as they go off, lift. But there's no time to think about it because you're literally into the next corner. So you've just got to basically use your peripheral vision to work it out. But this is what fuel target is built for. Now, all of this is down to my own mistake. Like, this is all because that's too late. All because I came in one lap early in the first stop by complete accident, because I was an absolute numpty. Look early. I'm having to this is now real endurance racing. This is what it's all about. Like, I'm having to really go further than I expected, and this is going to be costing me a bit of lap time every lap, but that's okay. It's all part of the game. That Porsche is still going. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not really. If I look too long at the number, I'm probably gonna, you know, it's not gonna help my concentration. But you're so right. So let's see what happens when I cross the line now. So 91 just before the line. We're just going to lift in behind this McLaren. Use the lap traffic to do a bit of energy saving. Porsche's going to be in the pits next lap. I've only got a 13.8 second lead now in the Ferrari, but that's still okay. BMW staying out of the way. Not too worried about those lap time losses on the top right, because bear in mind that's compared to the fastest lap of the race, which is on low fuel, and I'm still on old tyres, so like, I'm now on third stint tyres. And with full fuel, plus lifting and coasting big time, so I'm not worried about the size of the lap time losses. And bear in mind, turn 1 I lost so much as well with that traffic. Ooh, shuffle my cushion. If I go like, so I was 91 over the line just, but if say I get it onto you know, every 8% per lap, so 92, 84, 76, 64. Am I doing my numbers wrong? 68, sorry. If I get it on line with 8 per lap, if I can do the maths quickly, I can work out if that's going to be enough. But I'm probably not going to waste my mental energy on that right now. We can look at the tyres. So I'm on 84s across the line there, so that was good. That is what I need to be doing. Let's lift now. So I used less than 8% on that lap. And the fuel target, even though I'm doing massive lift and coast right now because of the fuel target recommendation, bear in mind it's going to probably recommend me to do more lift and coast early on in the stint to be safe, and that will ease off later on in the stint. If I do enough lifting and coasting, those purple lights should ease up on me a little bit later on, but not by much because obviously it's going to be touch and go. So you can see my tyres, 75 on the front left. Porsche is extending so much. Very impressive. Lap 20, so it's doing 14, it's on lap 28, so it's doing 14 laps per stint. So it's doing what I'm doing on this stint, but in every stint, basically, to try and save itself. I don't think it'll save itself a pit stop, honestly, but it'll make the last pit stop a lot shorter. So that Porsche is definitely one to keep an eye on in this race. Very much so. Just want to take this opportunity while it's a bit quiet to say thank you so much for joining, thank you so much for watching, for supporting this series throughout. I'm really, really enjoying the Road to Gold, as I've said every episode, but this race is the first time where, because it's a longer race and everything as well, I feel like this is, you know, probably the closest I've felt to what it's like feeling, you know, when you're in a real race. I'm in it for the long haul, obviously, and it's just, I'm really, really enjoying this battle with the fuel gauge at the moment, the battle with the energy. Obviously looking at other strategies around. The Porsche is doing something different. The Ferrari behind me is probably going to try and make it to the end on one set of tyres. It's really, really good. And this is what endurance racing is honestly all about. And I've experienced endurance racing myself in real life as well. The pit stop elements. Obviously the one thing I really want in Le Mans Ultimate is driver swaps. I would absolutely love to take on a race like this with my good friends and colleagues like Ross in the chat and Matt and all these kind of people, all you guys watching along as well, Charlie. It'd be great to do some more, you know, teamwork stuff if we get driver swaps in LMU. It's just it basically is the one thing that's probably the holding it back, in my opinion, the most in terms of online racing, to make it especially compete with the likes of ACC and even R Factor 2. You could do driver swap races, so that's going to be the biggest thing. It means you can do actual endurance races that are long because you don't need to do the whole thing yourself. And obviously we can do offline co-op races, but that's very different, asynchronous. So that's what I want next in terms of online features. Obviously it would be cool to have a career mode or something offline, but that's not for everyone. In the same way that driver swap races aren't for everyone either. Yeah, roll on me, 100%. Good to hear, Andy. Good to hear. I'm sure you guys are as excited about it as we are. Maybe I'll get Steven on. Maybe me and Steven can do some driver swap races. That'd be fun. I can quiz him about stuff while he's trying to haul a hypercar around Sebring. Ooh, that McLaren got it all wrong behind me. How's my fuel looking, guys? 69%. Yeah, we're doing it. I think this is... We're saving more than 8% a lap at the moment. We'll just keep on slowly getting back towards everyone else, but our next pit stop's going to be slightly longer than others because we're obviously going to be right down low on the tank. Always like going left on the exit of that chicane just to let the GT3s take their normal line. It does get a bit sketchy in the hypercar though, when you're out wide there. Of course, what all of this lifting and coasting is doing, it means that I'm not extending the gap really to the Ferrari behind me, and that means that when I take my new tyres and it doesn't, we're going to be really, really close on track. And he's probably going to get me on cold tyres, but I'm then going to have a tyre advantage, I'm going to have a slight pace advantage, and that's going to carry through to the rest of the race. So if that does happen, it's okay. Just means that I might have to overtake someone on track. Yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the stream anyway. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll have a look at the tyre percentages. So 73 now front left. So yeah, front left is definitely the one that takes the biggest hit. 76 for the rest of the tyres. I've got to really keep focusing on the lift and coast though. There's still a lot of saving to be done because I've got to do this obviously for the whole stint, not just the first half. So I can't really let off with this, and I'm fully committed to it now. I need to get that extra lap in this stint because there's even a chance if the race goes on long that I might need to do an extra lap in the last stint, and I'm not going to know about that until I get there. And even when I get there, I'm probably not going to know about it because it depends on the timer. So I might need some mathematicians in the chat working out how many laps to go. And then I can decide whether I need to lift and coast or not. Gap up to 15 seconds to the Ferrari, that's okay. It was Sebastian Bourdais who was Sebastian Bourdais was the one who was very, very good at lifting and coasting. From his days in IndyCar and kart. Obviously there's so much fuel saving that goes on in IndyCar and kart, especially back in the 90s, and it's still the same now, to be fair. Scott Dixon, an absolute master of extending. But it's a totally part of the experience. Yeah, thank you, Andy. That's a good reminder, and I don't know why I didn't think of this, but the estimated lap count on the top right tells you how many laps you're expected to do. So I actually think we're okay. I think with those laps, we do not need an extra lap of fuel saving later. In fact, I might have been okay. That's a shorter race than I was expecting, because I'm leading and my lap times aren't as quick as I thought the pace of the race might be. So it might be a lap less than I expected. And I was actually looking at taking on a safety lap of fuel anyway, so maybe I'm being, as usual, being overcautious on fuel numbers, and maybe I could have done the whole race without saving a lap on fuel, but I'd rather be on the same lap as everyone else just to be safe, you know? Yeah, cool. Thanks, Andy. So that means it'll be a 64 lap race as it stands, which is obviously a multiple of 8. Not that that's relevant. So it's, how does it, I mean, in terms of lap count, so what, 13 laps a stint, 26, 39, 52, 63, 64. So yeah, the last stint at this rate will actually be 12 laps instead of 13. So could have got away with my first 12. I probably could have got away without saving a lap of fuel here, but it would have been too risky. I'd rather have an extra lap just to be safe. Gap coming up nicely to the Ferrari behind me. Need to use more of my motor map because it's getting too high. That's the thing, constantly, that's one thing you've got to balance with these cars. You've got to keep an eye on that energy bar on the right hand side, the blue bar, and just make sure that you burn enough battery and also reserve enough when you need it. Yeah, I think they're saving. Yeah, 100%. The magic number is 38. I want to be pitting at the end, not 38, 39. I want to be pitting at the end of lap 39 here. I feel like the lifting and coasting is getting bigger, though. My lap target's getting bigger, which means I'm not saving enough currently. So, might just have to be a bit more conservative there. Get another 0.3 of a lap, I think. Need saved. Because we're coming to pit lane entry now and I've got 5.8 laps left. I need that to say 6 essentially, or 6.1, or even 6.2 to just make sure I get to my pit box, so to burn more motor target as well. Needs to be at 40 energy when you pass the pit entrance for 5 more laps, yeah. Bearing in mind I can obviously adjust and save more if I need to a bit later on. Yeah, that was bad on me, sorry McLaren. That's the first time I've done the wrong thing. I went outside instead of inside. Didn't need to. And the McLaren basically had to lift at an awkward spot and almost lost the car, I would say, so that's bad on me. Do a massive lift here. That one was ridiculously big. We are going to take tyres. Not wet. Not. Oh, use mediums. No one. Oh, we don't have this. We don't have new mediums, but that's fine. So I thought it was unlimited tyre sets. I didn't read that properly. But that's okay. Slightly used mediums. That's fine. GT3 off the track. I don't want mixed tyres. Anyway. There you go. That would have been easier, wouldn't it? Just setting one click. That's my qualifying tyres. 4 more percent.
That time was a 1:50.68.
I'm going to save more in these last few laps, don't worry. I'll play it safe. I've done the commitment to this point. I need to save the extra lap, so I'm going to lift way more and just absolutely ensure that I get that extra lap. Now I'm thinking I don't need it in terms of the race, but because I've put the effort in and I've lost so much time doing this, it's going to make me feel much more comfortable. So now. No. Committed to the line. Yeah, it was risky. That was that was probably risky on me, but I saw the space in the McLaren. I thought he knew where I was, so I just went for it, knowing that if I went left, there was another car there, and I thought that's probably going to be more off-putting. He might jinx, so 2 wheels in the grass wasn't great. That's on me, but yeah, I felt you have to commit, and I was like, that's it, I'm going for it, and I was quite calm through it, so we made it through. I need 3 more laps, and I've got 3.9 laps left. So it needs to be end of lap 39 that I'm coming in here. That was terrible. Sorry guys, running deep. It was focused on fuel saving more than braking and turning. Now the gap is going to be significantly smaller to Chandra after the stop because I'm taking tyres and I'm assuming they are not. So that's going to be interesting out of the pits. If I can hang on to track position, it'll be really good because then I don't need to worry about making a move as my tyres come up to temperature and stuff. But if I don't, it's not the end of the world. That motor map keeps on. I keep on having to change settings on it. There's a lot of, and maybe 2 clicks is too many.
150.18.
Nope. Forgot to lift. What is this hypercar in front doing? Yeah, I could probably change the fuel target now, but I'm kind of going with instinct in terms of I think I've done it. I think like as long as I'm semi-sensible now, I should be okay. I don't think I need to lift as much as I was. But I'm just playing it extra safe now. And if I have spare in the tank, it just means a slightly shorter stop, so I'm okay with that too. Remember, I don't need to save 2 laps of fuel, I just need to save 1.4 laps of fuel compared to the normal stint. So I could set it to 1 and it would probably be okay, but let's just leave it. Let's just leave it as it is. Right, I need 2 laps from this point on. I've got 2.2. Looking forward to some new tyres. Yeah. Cheers, James. Thank you for all of your guidance. I think my fuel target lights didn't come on there, which is interesting. That means either it feels like it's hopeless, or it feels like I've done enough on the fuel, which again is not actually what we're looking for here. But if you look at my current lap times compared to my best lap, so it's still coming on very early. If you look at my best lap compared to my current laps, there's a big jump, big difference. So we've got more pace in the tank if we need to exploit that in the next stint. And then, as soon as I get into the pit lane, I'm going to have a new stress. I'm going to have like 50 seconds to relax, and then I'm literally going to be straight back in the fight and have a much smaller gap with cold tires. So the race is going to get very intense very quickly here. And we should be pitting on the same lap as well. Big lift and coast here. McLaren's jumped out of my way, thank you, didn't need to do that. I do not want to get a penalty for running out on the pit lane though, there's no point risking it here.
That time was a 149.8.
In we come. Okay, new used tires, that's fine, 90%. So I did the right thing pitting pit stop 3, sorry, for new tires instead of pit stop 2. Just because I didn't realise that I thought it was unlimited sets, so I just didn't read the instructions properly, and that just means that we'll be okay at the end. Sebring's one of the weirdest places to work out pit stop strategies, bear in mind, because it thinks you're obviously going to run out over the finish line, but actually the finish line is not where the pit lane is, so you actually have a bit more to work with than you think, or than the game thinks, and also the lap counts are always a bit weird, because you come out of the pits and you're still on a certain lap. We're at 2.4% now, so let's just make sure we get there. Okay, a bit tentative on the way into the pits, but it's okay. We've got 1.9%. We're good, guys. We did the fuel saving we needed to do. The most stressful fuel save stint is out the way. We did it with 2% left. So it was a little bit cautious, but I'm happy about that. And that's Chandra in the pits behind me. Right, 12 seconds to get tyres. I was about 14 seconds ahead or something like that. So it's literally going to be, can I hang on to track position here? Can I hang on to track position? Yeah, cheers, James. I actually, you know what? This is the first time, Michael, ever that I'm putting on scrub tyres. So I'm going to tell you live. I don't think they'll be warm because there's no tyre warmers allowed. So I don't know. They won't be warm. They might come in a bit quicker. Honestly, I doubt it. I doubt it, but who knows? As I say, I'm very confident that Chandra in the pits behind me is not going to take tyres. So that's me taking tyres now. So Chandra's going to come out, I think, with his hard front left. He's going to be right near me. Bonifoy in the Toyota's extending. Right, come on, let's go. Right. I think that's Chandra behind me. Yes, it is. Right, here we go then. So I've got better tyres with half the life of his, but they're cold. Chandra is on old tyres that are warm. This is it. The race is here. Obviously, I've got the advantage for the rest of the race now after the tyres come up to temperature. Alright, come on. Crucial first lap here. I'll need to change my fuel target for the lifting coast again. Okay, we're good. 2.1 seconds. I've actually gapped him slightly, and the grip seems to already be coming in, so I think we're okay for now. Ooh, forgot about cold tyres for a second. That's fine. We can afford a lock-up more than he can. Save some of the motor mapping. It's quite high. Oh my goodness. BMW was trying to do a good thing there, honestly, and just got our wires crossed a little, so played it safe. Oof, wow, okay. Not fully up to temperature yet. I'm pushing a little bit too hard now. So what happened there was I literally just, I think the motor map's actually full as well, which is also why I locked up slightly. So let's get around this corner safely and then get that motor map burning, get the battery depleted. I think that's probably the issue more than anything else. I'll change fuel target in a minute, because we don't need those 2 laps of fuel saving.
Lap 150.14.
Okay, I did not lose. That lap was a 150.1 first lap out of the pits with cold tyres. So I guess they're not as cold as I expected. Or maybe because they're used, they do actually come out with a bit more performance. I'm not quite sure. It's a surprise to me. It's just that Porsche now that might be extending a lot, and that's the one to worry. I don't think you can extend a stop. I don't think you can do a full stop, but that's a lockup again. What you can do is, that's heavy fuel too. What you can do is, you know, make the last stop way shorter. So we've got to keep an eye on that Porsche, but I'm only 21 seconds behind now anyway, so I think we're good still. It's so weird going from fuel saving to just driving normally again. All my reference points are out. What am I looking to do here? I'm looking to take down the lap target to 1. 1 will do. I don't even need the 1, but just gives me that little assurance. Right, tyres coming in now, nicely. You can feel the grip there. Everything else we're going to leave the same. Cool.
Time 1:48.
Mr. Main Wiring. Right, 5.5 seconds. We've got new tyres. We're on the same pit stop strategy. So Porsche is now our biggest threat, I would say, relative. I mean, the Ferrari's still not far behind, so if the Ferrari does something or I make a mistake, it's definitely a threat. But I'd say the Porsche's, again, probably not going to do an extra stint, so I think we're okay on that one as well. But that's more of an unknown than the Ferrari, let's say. So arguably the Ferrari's realistically the more dangerous, but the Porsche's stressful because it's there. And you never know. But I think I've got the pace. It's going to have to do a lot of fuel saving to save more, you know, so that means that pace is going to be limited, essentially. I will stay calm. Mr. Monropel, I hope... oh. Was it you I was battling with in that race? I didn't have a chance to read the full comment. But if you're saying thank you for a good race, then I'm assuming it was yourself who I was battling with.
Time 1:48.
Or was it because you watched the stream and it made you go and give it a go? But either way, you're very welcome for whatever I did. It was good fun. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I obviously do still have to do a little bit of lift and coast every stint just to get that, you know, half a lap or whatever, but I feel more comfortable doing that naturally, to be honest. I'm not worried about the numbers as such. Thank you, BMW. Yeah, good point, James. But if he's fuel saving that much, maybe he's being really soft in his tyres. But either way, honestly, I don't think the Porsche is going to be a major threat. Thanks very much. I will continue to enjoy myself. Thank you so much for watching. And catch up soon. Have a nice evening. Nice to have fresh tyres on, I have to say. Double shift. Always seem to do a double shift on my fastest laps.
Time 1:47.92.
This is now the hot lapping stint with a little bit of lift and coast every so often. Give myself a bit of a buffer. 36 minutes to go. The time has absolutely flown by. But it's still almost as long as the longest race I've actually done on LMU to go so far. we'll just try and finish this fast lap, and then I'll do some more fuel saving. I'm doing a little bit of lifting course at the moment, but I think when you start, you know, when you find a good rhythm and your pace is good, it feels nice sometimes to just get that lap time in there. And then it's just the racing driver mentality. Obviously the car should get faster as I burn off more fuel anyway. Yeah. No double upshift this time. There we go. There's a low 147. Right. Now I just need to relax a little. And do a bit of fuel saving. Get me that extra half a lap that I need, or quarter of a lap, whatever it is now. If this looks like fun to you guys, and you've got a silver safety ranking, you can still sign up to the evening version of this. This is going on, I think it's at 7 o'clock UK time, which is, I can't even look at what the time is right now, but I know lots of you guys are watching from the UK, you'll be able to chip in. What is it? 3:45, so 3 hours and 15 minutes, I believe, until the next one of these. And as long as you have silver driver ranking, and as long as you're subscribed to Race Control Pro, which I think is going to cost you, I think it's £40 for the year, so you'll have it for a whole year for 40 quid, then you can join into this championship. You can register and you can take part in the next race. And I know that there are a lot more people registered for the next race. I'm not available for it, sadly, but there were more people registered for that one than there were for this one, even earlier today. So if you like what you see, go and do it. I highly recommend it. I mean, obviously I'm not having a bad first race here, let's be fair, but I'm not exactly having the most thrilling race. But obviously whenever you're leading and but you're not leading by a lot and you're having to focus, it's you know, the time passes really fast. It's still thoroughly enjoyable, but in just a very different way to, you know, a crazy scrap for P9, which I've become used to in this series.
That time was a 1:48.48.
I believe it does, by the way, Michael. So if this is obviously you only need the middle tier subscription to be able to take part in these races. The higher tier gives you all LMU and R Factor 2 DLC, and as long as your subscription is active, you should have every single bit of DLC. So obviously, if you then, you know, if you pay for a year, for example, you then have all of the DLC for this game as it comes out. So you'll have every single bit when it's released. For that year, and then obviously if your subscription lapses, you'll then lose all of that DLC that you haven't bought outright, but then you can renew obviously and still have it. So it's kind of, it means you can either buy the DLC and own it, or you can essentially rent the DLC for 40 quid a year. So I think it's yeah, I mean obviously the usual stuff, right? Question marks over you know, paid DLC and subscription tiers for a game that's not finished yet, but I mean it's now, I would say, good enough that, you know, the fact that it's not finished is a side product, and obviously it's going to be finished quite soon. There are still missing features, etc., obviously, which we've talked about, but you know, if it's worth to you 40 for the year to be able to do anything on this game when the content comes, and obviously take part in the championships as well, there's going to be more benefits later down the line, which we haven't seen yet. I would think, anyway. Yeah, it's good that it gives you the option, right? So I actually do own a good amount of DLC for this game, but not all of the DLC. So this subscription right now is covering me for some of the stuff, but not all of it. And it just means that, you know, if I do run out of subscription, then I can either just buy the stuff I'm missing, and then I don't feel like I'm tied to it, if that makes sense. I don't feel like I need to pay a subscription just to be able to play the stuff I'm playing. I could just buy it, but over the years, maybe it'll be cheaper to just have a subscription, because also it gets you race control. So essentially, you're paying an additional 40 over the middle tier, so which you might have been paying anyway. So essentially what you're doing is you're paying 40 for championship modes, at the moment, which might become more, and then as in more features, and then an extra 40 for all of the content for as long as you have the subscription. So it is, I think it is reasonable, even though it's in early access. And as I always say with this game, the thing I like is that you can, okay, you don't have every circuit if you don't buy the DLC, but even if you don't buy the DLC, you don't buy a subscription, anything, you can still race in all of the categories. So you can still race GT3, GTE, LMP2, and Hypercar. That might change in future, who knows, there might be new classes introduced, etc. But as it stands, you don't need to own any DLC to take part in every race as long as you own the track, basically. That's the question mark, really. So I need to get to, what is it, lap 52? Yeah, that's it. Is it fun enough to justify? And that's totally down to personal preference. At least you can give it a go without spending money. Well, sorry, you still have to buy the game. You know, you don't have to buy the DLC or a subscription to see if you like this game. You can enjoy it, you know, without that. And then if you do like it, then you can choose how much money to spend. So it is reasonable, I think. It is totally reasonable, relatively speaking. Yeah, cheers, James. I'm keeping an eye on it, and you're right. I still need to probably keep lifting a little, but I've got one eye on it, so we're okay. Thank you so much for all of your number crunching throughout the race. It's really nice and reassuring to have that extra eyes on the numbers when I'm focusing on the driving. Definitely don't need that extra 1 litre that I put in for that longer stint, so I'll get rid of that. That'll make a huge difference. 1 litre less a lap. I'll just do it at the pit stop. Oh, nice, yeah, so a couple of races and you were in. Yeah, a lot of people, I think, there's a kind of narrative at the moment, and to be fair, we are also, I would say, on Traction, part of the people pushing this narrative to a degree, but I'm a massive ACC fan. I've always loved ACC. I'm aware of its flaws and imperfections, but I'm just, you know, I've just been a big fan of how well that game just works, and it's great for multi-class racing, it's great for driver swaps, all that kind of stuff. And I am of the opinion that LMU is kind of the spiritual successor to ACC, if they can get driver swaps in, which, you know, let's see what happens in May and how everything goes, but obviously that's the plan. And I've always loved the driving experience in R-Factor 2, right? I've always loved it, but it was rarely worth it for all of the other pain and chaos of getting races set up and getting everything working. There were so many other annoying things about RF2 that made it not as good as it could have been, but the driving was never ever the issue. The physics, the online racing, never the issue. LMU is, as much as it started a little bit shaky and, you know, lots and lots of missing features, etc. in early access, it's already, I'd say, getting rid of a lot of the fluff that made R-Factor 2 painful to play. Like, it feels a lot more plug and play than RF2 already, in my opinion. Obviously more limited in content, but the physics are every bit, in my opinion, as good as RF2 at its best. Not exactly the same, but just as good. I'm going to concentrate here, guys, just to get through this traffic. There's a Toyota as well. And yeah, as I say, LMU's already ticked those boxes. So it's got, for me, the best bits of RF2. Minus some content, but obviously the content it does have is awesome. Let's just take it really easy through here. Thank you. Oh, that's a lockup. Oh, that was an accident. I'm really sorry. You saw what happened there, right? Ooh. That was, I feel really sorry for that GT3. It totally was an accident. They left loads of room on the inside because they thought we were steaming down the inside when we weren't, so I took it, and then I just got on a bump and locked up, and then got a bit sideways, so it definitely cost him a position. But hey, we didn't make contact, he survived, so it's a small thing in a 2-hour race. But yeah, that's just a real shame. That's why you need to keep your wits about you. Because if I'd have caught him with my, if my rear had caught his front there, I could have been heading left into the wall. And it would have been entirely on me, even though not because of recklessness, just because of kind of bad positioning and unfortunate timing. Yeah, LMU or ACC? What are you guys, where are you guys at right now? What are you playing right now? Because for the first time ever, LMU users surpassed ACC users concurrently. So it's not like everyone's already made the switch, right? I would say I probably have. I mean, I can't remember the last time I did a proper race on ACC. Obviously, I'm doing the stream series in LMU. And I might go back on ACC at some point, I don't know. But it's, it's obviously not getting the updates anymore, and it's not getting the attention anymore because AC Evo. Whereas LMU is very much still in its infancy and still growing. It's not even fully released, so it's getting all of the attention right now. And I just think that ACC player base is slowly going to move to either iRacing, AMS2, Race Room, thank you Toyota, Race Room, AC Evo is the big one, or LMU. And the question is, where are they going to go? If you can't decide between ACC and LMU, it's tricky. It's tricky. Honestly, now the momentum that LMU's got, the amount of, ACC you're going to be able to get on a discount at some point, I would say, especially now. If you find it on a really cheap deal, I would honestly recommend getting it anyway, because it's just good fun while there's still a decent player base, and LFM's still going strong. There's still lots of competition to be had on ACC for sure. There's still just as many people playing it, but that number's probably going to go down, whereas LMU's going to go up, I would think. So, genuine, honest opinion, I would recommend now go LMU over ACC if you're buying new, but ACC is gonna get cheaper at some point, and it's still worth having a go on at some point if you can justify the cost. ACC driver swaps more complete at this stage, not quite as good in terms of physics and force feedback, I would say. Visually, it's kind of. Yeah, I think I prefer LMU, but it's subjective. Yeah, so there, don't know if you noticed, I turned into that corner and the rear of the car tried to overtake the front and I got sideways. And instantly, now that I've been getting experience in these hypercars, I know it's because my battery's full. And I looked to the right and lo and behold, it was completely full. So that's the kind of thing that I'm learning with these hypercars. You've got to just pick up on all those little things, and oh, the car behaved in a weird way. No, it wasn't just me being weird. It was actually because I've neglected that setting. So that is exactly why you've got to pay attention driving these hypercars, and that's the kind of thing that I'm improving and learning as we go through this series. Let's make sure we do not take new tires. 22 minutes to go, guys. This is going to be the last pit stop. If all things go well, I should say. If there's no surprises. No tires. There we go. Done. We're going to get 64 laps out of this race now, so I think I'm going to take a full tank. I've got the time in hand to do it just to be safe, and I think it's going to be about perfect. But I'm going to have to get to the finish line. But I think it's only going to be, 12 laps, so... Should be good. I can afford to play it safe, I can afford to fuel save and just make absolutely sure I'm on the right strategy. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, James. Exactly the same again, I'm good, so that's the plan. I've got the pace, and that's the main thing. Oh, forgot about the pit stop. This pit lane is so off-putting. There's two ways you can go in, late or early. I think it's quicker to go in early, like I've been doing, but I think you can go in late. The lines kind of suggest going in late, so I don't know what you're meant to do. So easy to forget because I'm so used to coming out that last corner and going in. Yeah, on console, yeah, you're right. It's not the best for options on console for now. At least they fixed the game on console, because that used to be the big problem. It was really not a great game. So that's solved. And obviously, if you're a console player, there's lots of other sims coming to console soon. We know that Project Motor Racing is going to be coming to console. Obviously, LMU has expressed interest of going to console. Wrench Sport announced last week it's going to console. Although that game needs a lot of work, I think, to become a real player. So, oh, yellow flag. So console players are going to have it good soon, and ACC is going to fall behind for sure. But it's not, and I don't think it's going to recover once ACC dies in terms of player numbers. I don't think it's going to recover because the devs are obviously focused on AC Evo. I think it's been wrung out for as long as it can be at the moment. Right, let's get this race finished. Let's continue. No mistakes, no contact, no off tracks, and we're winning. So if we can complete this, pole position, fastest lap, race win with no issues, I'm going to be a very happy man, and I might just reach gold safety ranking. So part 1 of our goal and objective here in this series could be completed. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I've got 13.3 seconds, so the Porsche behind, I've jumped him on pace, and he's still got a stop to make. So the Porsche's nothing to worry about. It's going to be a shorter stop, but I'm already ahead. So as suspected, Ferrari's the biggest threat, and I have the pace, and I've got the tyres. So from this point onwards, it's just concentrate, save a bit of fuel to make sure 100% there's no additional scary laps that get added on, which there shouldn't be, and we're golden. Yeah, cheers, James. You guys in the chat are the best, honestly. I do these races, I get tense, stressed, trying to think of 7 different things at once, and you guys are just like, just stay calm, everything's fine, I'll tell you what to do for fuel saving, telling me what the guys are doing behind me. It's just like having the best endurance team in a chat box that you can access while driving, which is very illegal in real life. But I appreciate you guys. If there's any other topics you want to discuss via sim racing, obviously amongst me concentrating on this, do let us know in the chat, and we'll we can hash it out. Should have drunk water on that pit stop. I mean, yeah, first of all, in terms of Kunos and 397, I mean, that's, first of all, compliment to Motorsport Games and 397, which is obviously one and the same thing in terms of Le Mans Ultimate, because, yeah, they're putting in a big effort. Obviously, Le Mans Ultimate, Motorsport Games is for sale, but despite that, there's a lot of effort being put into... Thank you. That's back markers being so friendly. I lost loads of time, but I don't care. There's a huge effort being put into looking after customers, making sure that people are happy, people are engaged, and obviously we've got, for example, Le Mans Ultimate in the chat today. We've got other members of the team in the chat as well, and you guys are also no chat will be winning. You guys are obviously able to interact with them, and they're really, really good at that. So that's fantastic. Kunos are good as well in terms of interacting with the community. I know, obviously, 505. I've got their community manager there as well with Raggy. Let's not crash into McLaren. They've got some brilliant. There's some brilliant people at Kunos and 505 as well. So I've never had any problems in terms of community interaction, but obviously everyone has a completely different experience. So I'm absolutely not going to comment on your experience. Yeah, safety car would be amazing, like full course yellow, stuff like that. We'd love to see it. I just realised the Ferrari, obviously the Porsche's behind me, but it's going to have to stop. The Ferrari's 38 seconds back, so I wonder if Chandra's taking fresh tyres to try and steal a fast lap or something. I think Chandra, to try and avoid risks of tyre issues, he's taken fresh tyres because he's not going to catch me, and then they've decided that, you know, they can get out safely in second. But it has put the pressure on them a little bit, because there's another car right behind. That's a Fiat, so interesting.
That time was a 1:50.93.
Yeah, 100% James. I think that's what they've done. Take the tyres to play it safe. Don't risk like any, you know, horrendous tyre wear towards the end. Or I don't actually know. I've not run the tyres too long on Le Mans Ultimate before, so I don't know what happens to them when they get below like 50%. Whether they can actually puncture, whether they just get really bad performance. But obviously wasn't worth the risk, and I totally understand that. It's funny, if I drive slightly slower and like save fuel and stuff, the expected race lap distance goes down. So I've actually got it down from 64.3 to 64.1. So if I take it easy in this last stint, I'll actually reduce the lap count by 1. But I mean, I don't think it makes a difference to me at this point. More laps, more valid, clean laps, probably better for safety rating. So probably better if I can keep going and get an extra lap in. Yeah, exactly. I could have taken I will need less than a full lap of fuel. I know that for sure. So you're 100% right, and that's it. We just took a full tank because there's absolutely no point taking any risk at this stage. So that was the thinking. If I was in a real scrap there was 2 seconds between us, I also would have taken 1 lap less, and then just made sure we got across the line. Because I think they've all fueled for 64 laps, and we're only just going to get 64 laps. Whereas I've got fuel for 65, and there's even a chance we'll do 63 laps. Oh. GT3's absolutely jumping out of my way. Maybe some of these are the cars I scared earlier with my slight mistakes. But I'm not going to complain. It's very, very polite driving from these back markers. And to be fair, I have not one single complaint from any behaviour I've seen on track. Not one back marker has done something dodgy. Even, you know, the close call I had in the grass earlier was, you know, they might not have seen me coming and they held their line, so even that's probably still on me, for sure. But no one else has done anything dodgy. People have just either held their line as they should, or they've gotten out of the way, which they don't need to, but it's really nice, so. Yeah, it's been another race on LMU with really good, like, etiquette and really good standards. Yeah, exactly. It's just me. I'm the dodgiest. I don't think I've been too bad. I think there's been, as I say, there's been a couple of incidents where I've lapped people and gone, ooh, either I made a bit of a mistake or I could have been a bit more cautious. But I honestly, in a 2-hour race, that's going to happen sometimes. So it's okay. This race is just falling into my lap because I've got the pace. I think that's it.
That time was a 1:48.92.
Don't think we'll be able to steal a faster lap because we're essentially on 2.5 stint old rubber, because obviously I didn't take 100% new tyres, so I don't know if I'll have it in me to do a fast lap at the end. I'll definitely have the fuel, obviously, but I also don't want to, you know, try a qualifying lap and then smack a wall or something. That would just be ridiculous. Visibility is getting pretty low now as well. It's getting properly dark, and I hadn't even thought about it. Just been driving around, not thinking about it, and then all of a sudden I've noticed it's gone dark. Thanks, Dan. Now that you've said that, you just know that I'm probably going to do it. And you know that I will smack a wall if I do it. I think battery usage is fine on 60. 11 minutes to go now. It's probably not been a classic from a spectator's point of view, so I very much appreciate you guys joining me for the ride, and kind of as I talk through my my weird thought processes when I'm doing these races. That's kind of what I've been trying to do with these streams, really. I've been trying to focus on like sharing as much as I can about what goes through my head and when, just because I think obviously it's very easy when you're focused on a race to get, you know, bogged down on every single incident and you know, just be so focused that you don't say anything and you're getting angry at situations or frustrated or whatever it might be. But what I'm trying to do is just share with you my thought processes as I'm going around of what kind of things are on my mind. It's a very busy mind I have, but maybe it'll help you guys in some situation that's similar in a race in the future. You know, if you hear some of the challenges that I'm thinking about, it might be something that you hadn't considered, and it might just help you if you come across a similar situation in future. So anyway, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do with these streams, and that's why I'm so chatty. I'm also just quite chatty. These GT3s are battling for a race win, so we'll definitely not get in their way. That's P3 in the BMW. Then P2 is Kappa, 4.5 seconds up the road. And then P1's a long way further ahead of that. Don't know what the fuel strategy obviously is in GT3, if there's cars in the lead that are kind of off strategy or anything. .4 second lead. Yeah, not wrong. Let's just go the inside this time. Formula 1, obviously this weekend.
That time was a 150.5.
Yeah, always be cool to GT3s, you're right. Sometimes I'm not. I try to be though. Where's the GT3 part in the ABC? I don't think I've got a quali lap in me, Dan. Another back marker called. It could apply in so many ways. They just don't teach you this stuff in school. I always thought ABC stood for another broken Corvette. Hey-os! It's not been as, well, actually, I was going to say it's not been as straightforward as it might appear at this moment, but it kind of has. There's been a few. I've always been in a good position, but I've had stresses. Like for example, I pitted a lap early in the first stint by accident. Well, because I'm an idiot, and wasn't paying attention. So I had to then do a whole lap of fuel saving just to get back on strategy with everyone else, which now I've realised I didn't need to do. But I was worried the race was going to go on a bit longer, so. I spent a whole stint doing massive fuel saving to get an extra lap back, and then I came out the pits with new tyres about a second ahead of another car. So it's not been, even though I've kind of led start to finish, there have been moments of stress for sure, but we've kind of dealt with everything that's come our way. And of course, this is going to be, if I can hang on now, it's going to be the second win of the Road to Gold series. It's going to be my first win in hypercar on my first race that's been over an hour long. So. Just one split in this event. I do have the highest driver ranking of everyone in the event, so the game expects me to win this race. So it's not like I'm competing against, you know, the highest level of LMU players out there. and I would definitely get humbled this evening, I would think. But it's still, you know, still a reasonable level, and obviously all I can do is do my best to, up against what I'm actually up against. And you know, the drivers behind me have kept the pressure on. They've been doing some interesting stuff with strategies, and you know, it's still been a great race. Qualifying was pretty close as well. But I think if I was to do this race again, I could do the actual race stint. I could do the overall race time much better. I think if I did it again, I knew how many laps there were going to be. I reckon I could drive faster. I could fuel save more efficiently. I could, you know, not muck up the strategy. There's so many things I could drive better as well, putting more of a focus on pace if I needed to, because the pace is there when I want it to be. So I think there are many things I could have done better in this race if I was to go and do it again. Definitely not the car's fault. Definitely not the car's fault. Sebring is... what is it they always say about Sebring? A 12-hour race around Sebring is basically a 24-hour test, because a car takes as much damage in a 12-hour race at Sebring in terms of wear as the 24-hour of Le Mans. 24-hour. So, yeah, it's challenging, and also it makes me a bit dizzy, and it's tiring on the old arms. With 12 Newton meters of direct drive force. But I don't think you're a big fan of Sebring, are you, Oz? I know we did that video once where we made each other a terrible car setup, and you definitely won that. But I love Sebring. I think the bumps give it character as well. Like I just think it's really fun to drive, and it's such a good, when you get into a rhythm at Sebring, it's a really, really fun circuit for me to race around. But I get why people don't like it as well. Right, I've just passed P1, so that BMW is P1 and GT3. P5 is the Ferrari, so that's fine. Hello. Got some new members in the chat as well. Nice to see you. You know what? Let's just not take any risks. Follow this GT3 through. That was going to lose him a bit of time, so I don't need to do that right now. He flashed to say thank you. See, that's me. That's me making up for my issue at Sunset earlier when I almost almost lost it into one of them. That's me repaying my faith to GT3 drivers. Right, a couple of laps to go now. Gonna just about get an extra lap out of it, and I'm happy about that because more clean valid laps completed if I get through it. Who's joined the chat? Didn't see the name. Was it Dunk? No. Duckatee? Ducket? No idea. Oops. Oh, cool. Bonifoy is your teammate. Nice. He's doing a good job. He was actually going longer on the pit stops, or longer on the stints than everyone else around him. So he's been doing a good strategical race, sitting in P5 at the moment. The Porsche obviously was also doing a kind of fuel-saving strategy, which gave him a shorter last pit stop. So a couple of the non-Ferraris making strategy calls. I really like the LMU have added the HUD with the virtual energy percentage and tires, because it just, even though it's information, I mean, the thing is, it's information that you actually, oh yeah, I might be muted, Ross. I didn't think I was. I should be able to hear you, that's the weird thing, so. Anyway, sorry about that. What was I just about to say? Yeah, they've added, obviously, the tire indicator and the fuel number into the HUD at the top left. And I really like that. because it just lets you see, you know, in real life if you're racing, you would know what tyres the other teams are on because you would see them on circuit. And virtual energy is displayed by the race broadcaster, so it's information that even though I wouldn't as a driver know myself, obviously if I was in a real race I would know, or my team would know everyone else's numbers, so it's really nice to have that. Oh. Okay, the button for me to unmute my mic on Discord is the same as the server vote button, as I've just discovered, so... For some reason I can't hear you, so... Oh well. Let's bring it home, last couple of laps. No fuel saving, lifting course needed. We can actually go for a decent lap time-ish with slightly worn tyres. Oh, he's unsubscribed. Oh, Ross. You'll be missed. I just can't wait until we get driver swaps, Ross, so we can do some proper LMU team onlining, let's call it. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. In sim racing, when you don't have a team of engineers, I mean, I've got you guys in the chat, which is great. So I've got a team of engineers, but we're on our own usually, so all we've got is the HUD to go off of. We're going to get an extra lap in. Yeah, I think I'm... Does it say I'm deafened, Ross? Because it would tell you if I was deafened. I don't think I am. It might just be my inputs. Okay, fastest lap in the last lap's gone, because we had to pass the McLaren. I was going to go for it. Unfortunately, I do not have like a, you know, the champagne. What's that orchestral piece called when they deploy the champagne? I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, I don't have that on like a soundboard here, so I can't play any funky music when we win. If we win, shouldn't say that too early. Yeah, the pit lane entrance is in a different place. So if you go back and watch my stops, basically it's heroes on the right. So that is because in 2023, when this game was obviously created, and the season was 2023, WEC and IMSA were sharing the circuit for the same weekend. So the 12 hours of Sebring IMSA race was on the same weekend as the WEC endurance race, and the IMSA guys were in the main garages, and therefore WEC were in the kind of secondary back garages. So that's why you have the back pit lane, because everything happened on the back straight. So there you go. Anyway, we've done it. Yes. First championship race. We got the win. A nice way to ease into a new mode. And despite some stresses, I made that more difficult for myself than it could have been, but we've got the pace. And I could just kind of focus on... I basically had the pace in hand, so I could focus on everything else and just be a bit safe on everything. Could be safe on pit stops, everything like that. Safe on saving fuel, and we got it done. So there we are. Like a young Jim Clark. That'd be nice. Bit of work to do before we get there. So we had fastest lap as well. You can see I've actually got that because I did do a couple of push laps. There was only 7 hypercars finished in the end, and I had a second of lap time over the others, but that was just where I did those laps in the middle of the race. We had a few DNFs. Matt was the first DNF. Matt, I'm so sorry. Did not go well for you. Let's see then. Let's see what our gains are, because I think this is going to be... I'm wondering if I'll be gold. If we look to the top right, we're probably going to find out before the breakdown. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, 90. Thank you, James. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Rob. All of you guys, very, very kind of you. And thanks so much for the support throughout the stream. It's been huge fun. And that was, yeah, not the most exciting race in terms of track action. Obviously, you know, it was one of those where I was just out in front, trying to do the right thing. Very stressful in terms of strategy management and car management and just looking after things. So not a barnstormer by any stretch, but again, it's adding to my overall opinions and thoughts on Le Mans Ultimate as a game at the moment. And it's nice to experience a new game mode. There it is. Look at the top right. That's just changed. We've gone gold. Our first gold symbol has appeared on our road to gold. And there you go. So plus 80% on the safety rank gets us into gold 1. Obviously, we had 0 issues. So no contact, no invalid lap. So I had the perfect event. Pole position, fastest lap, race win. No position changes. Just literally as good as it could have been. And that was the gain. So we only got 30% on the driver rank because I think I was the highest anyway in the lobby. There was a couple of other silvers, but I think mine was higher. So it just shows you, like, if I got a bad race there, if it went wrong on lap 1 or whatever, or had an issue, I would have probably dropped quite a lot. But that's the way it goes. 254 points in the championship. And we'll see how all of that works. So obviously we've seen the race result. You can see people's driver ranking. So we had another silver 1, silver 2, silver 2. So there were, you know, a reasonable number of silver drivers there. So it's not like we were, you know, it's not like we were racing against lots of people that were bronze. So there was some stiff competition. Look, all of these guys are platinum safety ranking. So I think they've done more racing than I have, or they're just safer than I am. But we obviously gained the most. So great stuff. Championship standings. We're off the mark. So in terms of overall rankings here, were any of these drivers in the mix? So no one on that first page. There's David. So David, who is in the Porsche doing some fuel saving in that race, he's 17th overall in the standings, combined classes as well. So we did have some people. There's Pierre Bonifoy, 29th. But obviously we've just picked up, I mean, how many points was it there? 254 points. So it's not as big as the numbers being picked up by these guys because there were probably more splits. You know, what it'll do is it'll give you more points if you're racing a more competitive lobby with more splits, which is totally understandable. So that's why, you know, a win in round 1 there, 334 points. Assuming that might be a win. So obviously strength of field's taken into it a little bit, but it's a good points haul regardless. And we're not quite... I mean, obviously we're one race in, but there we are, 23rd. I'm ahead of Jimmy. That's all that matters. We're one place ahead of him, and he's also done one round. So there you go. Of all the people actually that have done one race, we are second. So we're behind People Baldwin in the Cadillac. There you go. But yeah, four times safety and driver ranking. So that's it. Happy days. I've just seen your comment, Michael. Love it. Cheers, Grant. Manufacturers, Adam. So it's Ferrari. All the Ferraris that I'm up against. So Bruno Fantozzi is leading that one. Anyone that we were in the race with there? I don't think so. Not on that first page, anyway. Oh, that's the second page. That's probably why. Let's see the first page. Yeah, so Afaya is 5th in Ferrari rankings. So we beat him. Or Rifki, I don't know that name, so could be any gender. So we beat them. They're 5th. We also... Was there anyone else in that race? Chandra. Yeah, Chandra is 11th. Chandra came 2nd. So there you go. Any wrist or hand pain? Not too bad. Slightly on the let's say the used side. Feel like I'm a car that's done 65,000 miles, but I haven't done 100k yet on my wrists. So it feels okay. I could do another stint or two if I needed to. I think 3 hours generally as a driver stint is pretty good in terms of, you know, obviously if you really needed to, you could do a lot longer, but I think I could comfortably do another couple of stints there. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy to be finished. Let's go with that. So yeah. Oh look, on my friends list, there's just 2 of us. That's all that matters, guys. That's all that matters. We scored 3 more points than Jimmy at Bahrain. He was in the BMW as well, so it's not as strong a car. And that's the only friends I've got that are doing championship mode. So there you go. 3 wins, 7 podiums, 2 fastest laps. Our record is looking better. We finally made. I say we finally made. I mean, it didn't take that long, but we've made gold safety rank. We've obviously done now a combination of things we've done all the classes. We've done GT3 racing, LMP2, GTE, hypercar. Now we've done, 4 races in the hypercar, so we're really getting there. The only things I'm still left to do, other than obviously get my driver ranking up to gold, which is going to take a long time, I think, and it's a bit more difficult. I obviously need to try out the advanced daily races now, because I can now finally unlock 1 stint sprint and, well, at the moment it's just 1 stint sprint, which is, funnily enough, hypercar at Sebring. So if I was mad, I would jump back on that and get humbled in some competitive hypercar action. But that's something we can try in a future stream on our road to gold. Obviously some advanced races. Then we also have weekly races and special events. So weekly race this week. Once again, it's WEC weekly at Sebring, but we didn't have a race on during the day. It was tomorrow at 9 p.m. was the first one, so I wasn't going to be able to do that. Hence why I did the championship round this week. So maybe next week there'll either be some weekly races or some special events that are actually at a sensible time for me to be able to stream them. And if there are, I will maybe try one of those next week. If there are not, then maybe we'll try some daily races. I think that's probably where we're gonna go with that. I would love to know how many drivers are gold, and also I would love to know how many drivers are platinum as well. I mean, if we go to the practice standings for this, because this is an advanced race, so I'm thinking some of the top drivers are going to be in this. There you go. Well, he's silver actually. If we go leaderboard, let's just see what kind of ratings we have. So we have in hypercar. So Marco Buono is G2, Sven is G1, Alex is G1, Sander G3. Not seeing any platinums, if there even is a platinum for driver ranking. SR's okay, Dan. We're good for SR now. I'm just trying to see. I mean, like, I'm trying to work out how many drivers actually have a gold driver ranking. I mean, there's no more here. That's bronze and silver. Obviously, this is just people that have practiced this particular event, so it's not everyone by any stretch, but it's just giving me a little sample size. 4,000 gold SR players. Wow. 4,000. That's a lot. Oh, that's safety rank. Okay, sorry. In my head, that was that was DR. What are the? Do you know the numbers, Andy, for DR, by any chance? Wow. Okay. So in safety rating, it's 4K gold, 2.5K platinum. That makes sense. I mean, for me, based on my experience in the series, bearing in mind I started with very similar driver ranking and safety ranking, the safety ranking has gone up a lot faster. So I think my results on my safety driving, or whatever you want to call it, I've probably balanced out quite well. I think I've obviously got some really good results, but in amongst those results, I've had some bad races, and I've also had some mainly clean races for safety ranking, with a couple of outliers where I've had some bits of contact and stuff. So, yeah, only 70 people. That makes a lot of sense. So basically what I've discovered is it's much easier to gain safety ranking than driver ranking, which it should be, because being safe is something that anyone can do, right? Anybody can drive around cleanly, keep it on the track, not crash into people, and have a good race. So it's absolutely correct that safety ranking should be easier to get high on, as long as you, getting high on safety ranking. You know what I mean? It should be much easier, because driver ranking gold, you have to be very quick, and you get good results. So I think that's totally fair. Are there any platinum driver ranked drivers, Andy? Because I think that must be very hard. Imagine if you're a gold, you're having to beat one of only 60 or 70 other golds to try and get platinum. No one's there yet. Are we going to change this series to Road to Platinum? I'm never going to get platinum. If Urine Simoncic isn't platinum, then I'm not going to be platinum. Thanks for the information, though. 3 gold, 3 driver. Okay, so 3 drivers in total are gold 3 driver ranking. We've got 70 in total in gold. and nobody platinum, but 3 people on gold. So you essentially, if you're wanting to get platinum driver ranking, you're going to have to be racing in the top split every time against all of the other gold drivers when they're competing, and then you're going to have to basically win. Like, you're going to have to keep winning all the races, because even in that race, as you saw, with ×4 multipliers, I was the strongest driver going in with driver ranking. I won the race, made no mistakes, fastest lap, pole position, and I only gained like 30%. So obviously it's still significant, but wow, that's really hard. Ah, David Mrocek, yeah. I've seen David racing in like Formula Pro and stuff before. So that's not a surprise. Hey, Dave's doing it. I remember last week, Dave, everyone was trying to convince you, including me, that you should jump in and give it a try. But if you're ready, honestly, are you going to make a video on it? I'd watch the video, Dave. If you do some sort of video of your first LMU race, I'm not no pressure. I'm not telling you what to do. But if you do happen to be filming it and make a video out of it, I'd love to see it. So I'll keep an eye out. Good luck, Dave, and have fun. Just enjoy it, and you'll be fine. You might get unlucky with other people, but you might not. So give it a go. You're in a 17th, nice. All right, Dave, I will keep an eye out for that. I'll make sure I have the notification bell turned on your channel. Yeah, I think I might do already, but I will check. Chunk Monk asks, will you be doing track and car guides for LMU like I did with ACC? I am not sure yet. We've considered this in the past. At Traction, we cover everything. So we try and cover hardcore sim racing, racing games, hardware, guides, reviews, all of these things. And in terms of the video team at the moment, there's a small team, let's put it that way. So you'll see that I'm the only person really appearing in the majority of videos. We also do a podcast. We've got Osley editing, and we've obviously got a team of people on the website as well. We've got three full-time writers, which is amazing. So I would love to do track guides and car guides and stuff for this, like I did with ACC. But first of all, I need to get good enough, because I think it would be wrong of me. We did one track guide at Imola in the hypercar, and yeah, it probably helps, 80% of people go a bit faster, but I didn't really know the hypercar very well, and there were lots of things I could have done better, lots of settings changes, advice. Basically, I wasn't it would be unfair of me to say this is the ultimate track guide if I wasn't at that ultimate level myself. On ACC, I was really in the zone with it, and I had, I was competitive. I was doing lots of ACC stuff online and high-level esports events, so I felt like I was good enough to justify making a track guide series. I wasn't an alien, but I was maybe within half a second of them on many circuits. With LMU, I've still got a long way to go. I think I'm getting there, but like Yerne, for example, I would watch Yerne's track guide. So maybe I can work with Yerne and we can do some stuff. So there might be some collaboration stuff going on there as well at some point. But honestly, it's time dependent, and it's also dependent on me getting good enough. And I think I'm getting better in hypercar, but I'm not there yet. So maybe come back to me once I'm gold 2 or something, driver ranking, and I have more time, and then maybe we can start slowly chipping away at track guides and stuff. But there are also multiple classes here. So there's hypercar, there's GT3, there's so many things we can do track guides for, and obviously the track list is growing. So that was your very long answer. The answer is not right now, but maybe in future. We will see. We will see. Is Yerne still? I don't know if he is doing. I think he's doing a lot of LMU, and he's also doing. I know that Yerne's also doing a lot of iRacing right now, so maybe he's putting a lot of effort into that instead. Anyway, guys, I'm probably going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching, as always. Thanks for all your support, all of your guidance and your help. It's been really appreciated. I've really enjoyed your company through this race. It's made it more enjoyable for me, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching the race as well. I look forward to jumping back on LMU again next week. Whether it's a special event, a weekly event, a championship event, or an advanced daily race, I don't know. But either way, I'd love to see you guys there again. And I know that many of you have been coming back for all these episodes, so it's massively appreciated. Good luck in your race this weekend, Dave. I can't wait to see how it goes. Thanks for, obviously, we've had Andy in the chat, Dan, we've had Le Mans Ultimate socials as well with Lewis, and Ben's in the chat as well. Nice to see you, Ben. So plenty of Le Mans Ultimate folk in this chat, so share some love with them for creating this incredible game, guys, because there are multiple people in this chat that have worked on this game in one form or another, whether it's on the online system, whether it's on, obviously, social media, whether it's developing, it's trailers, it's videos. There are lots of LMU folk around watching these streams and supporting as well. So they're clearly invested in the community, and they want to make a great game for you guys. So, yeah, obviously want to show them a lot of appreciation. And keep working hard on this game, and I hope that things go well. And I hope that we can continue to see more and more updates for this game, and it gets the longevity that the quality of it deserves. Is basically what I'd say. That's pretty much going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed this, if you haven't already subscribed. I know that in terms of videos, it's normally like, 80% of people watching the video or 90% haven't subscribed. I don't know if it's the same for the streams, because you guys are obviously very loyal, and although I know a lot of you will have already subscribed, but if you haven't, you found this entertaining or informative in any way, we really would appreciate a subscription. You could hit the notification bell as well, so that you don't miss any of our streams or uploads, and that way, whenever we are doing something, you can choose whether to watch it or not. You definitely won't miss something that's going to suit you, and all of your support, of course, as always, is much appreciated. Big thank you as well to Go Setups for giving me a setup subscription and allowing me to compete and win that race in open setup category. And obviously, yeah, we'll see you again next week. Take care, have a nice weekend, and I'll see you soon.